On my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back.
Good afternoon and welcome everyone to the second episode of the Rabid Dolphin Show. I am your host, Lewis, aka the Rabid Dolphin. And this is the Finn's Tailgate. We'll call this show the Afternoon Tailgate. Hope everybody is doing well. This episode, we're going to get into the real, right? We're going to get it, because I've been sitting back and I've been hearing a whole bunch of stuff the past 2 days. And I'm just here to give my thoughts, to give my opinion, because I know I said a couple things on Sunday afternoon right after the game. Maybe I was a little emotional, so I wanted to gather my thoughts and stuff. But before I do that, just a quick little rundown on all the programming we have here at the Finn's Tailgate. As you can see, thank you, Color. We have El Capitan, the great proprietor of this channel, every night of the week. Also the Rabid Dolphin, color commentary, late night exhale with Ali, some Dolphin debrief with DTA. Also, Cash App and Venmo memberships are down at the moment, but if you feel like donating, if you like what you're getting from this platform, we do have Cash App and Venmo as the Finn's Tailgate. Fanatics, our official licensed partner. And we got everything here. We got sandals for the Floridians, sweaters for the up north kind of people, hoodies, tank tops, man. That's what I would be in. Absolute gorgeous hats. I could definitely got to get one of those. The flag of the Finn's Tailgate. So when you're tailgating live at Hard Rock, get the flags up there. Also the DNA shirts. It's awesome. And there you see the collection of everything. We got mugs, coffee mugs for Color. I know he enjoys those. The tumblers, obviously. And just a lot of great products, man, that you can get. So with that being said, you see the title of the show. Can Uno win big games? QB1, the Samoan sniper, the left-hand arm of God, all the narratives and all the names that we want to give this kid, right? Well, I was sitting back, man, and I know I touched on it a little bit Sunday, but just gathering more and more of my thoughts, right? Because I keep hearing this narrative about how good the 49ers defense was on Sunday. And the linebackers had so much depth that they were the reason that Uno wasn't completing passes. They were the ones making all the plays. See, those are all wrong. Those are all excuses, in my opinion, right? Because when Uno's playing well, I come out and I give him credit. But when he plays bad, I'm going to light his ass up on fire. Because remember the interception that Uno threw to Tyreek Hill in the flat? I don't remember seeing any linebackers there. I don't remember seeing the linebackers getting depth on those plays. I just seen a bad throw by Tua. How many times did we see throwing to the flat to Alex Ingold where Alex Ingold had to jump off his feet to catch the ball? I didn't see no linebackers there, right? And again, what have we all been praising Tua Tagovailoa for this season? The intermediate throws, those 15 to 25 yards right over the linebackers in between the safeties. Well, ladies and gentlemen, those opportunities were there all day Sunday. And for whatever reason, Tua Tagovailoa wasn't hitting them. And in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, it was because he looked scared. It looked like the moment was too big for him. Now, I don't know if he was reading the press clippings and he hears everybody talking about MVP. Hell, Thursday and Friday night getting ready for this weekend's game, we were having people in our fan base that he should switch his number from 1 to 13. People were saying, oh, if he wins an MVP and a Super Bowl, he's better than one Dan Marino. I think those narratives have gotten put to bed. If you ask me, that's just my opinion. Before I keep going on this rant, I do want to notice everybody in the chat. That's my fault, man. I appreciate everybody coming. I'll go down first on the list. Am I seeing this right? Michael K was the first one in the building? No, I thought it was California. Shout out to the homie California. We do have Bills first in the AFC, Michael K. Appreciate you swinging through, Michael K. Concrete, day one, always been solid, the homie. Got Crypto in the building. I see Crypto. Brian Brains, I see you in here. Appreciate you. Got Dolphin near. What's good? Roadrunner as well. I see you. Appreciate you swinging through, homie. Cap for life. Always a pleasure seeing you. Hope all is well. Ryan AP as well. I see you. Adam, what's good, homie? Scott Jackson. Jose Valdez. Lewis, no screaming today. Jose, I can't promise you that, my friend. I think today's conversation might get everybody, panties in a bunch, but we'll see. I'm going to try to keep it, cordial. Lance McDonald, I see you, buddy. Thank you for coming through. G in the building. Kenna also in the building. Got to shout out Canes, even though our Canes had tough year for the Canes, man. But we'll bounce back. We'll get it in. Big shout out and salute to the homie Color, man. He's in the back, so I appreciate Color for real. Adam, Scar, Mountie, Marino's GOAT. Man, we got them all in the building. So let's keep going. See, my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, I just believe that Tua Tagovailoa can't win the big games. And I've heard this argument already. Well, look at Baltimore this year and look at Buffalo. Yeah, that was week 2 and week 3 of the season. And I'm not saying those weren't big games. But in my opinion, a bigger game is 2 weeks from now when we go to Buffalo, not week 3. A big game is not week 2 where, if we lose, no one really expected us to win. We would have had, it's a first-year head coach. It's going to take time. So I'm glad we won, but those ain't big games to me. The 49er game, everybody built it up as a playoff atmosphere, right? Everybody built this up. Man, if we can just get this game, we're 9-3. And again, look at what happened. The Cincinnati Bengals took care of business. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. We win this game, we're looking at the number 1 seed in the whole conference. Fuck the division. That's already a lot. We're talking about home field advantage throughout the playoffs, right? And when I back at the game and I'm just analyzing, bro, it wasn't Coach McDaniel that lost us this game. It wasn't the offensive line that we were missing Taron Armstead and Austin Jackson, and we were going in with 2 backup tackles. They actually played well. I mean, hell, I keep hearing about this defensive line for the San Francisco 49ers. We had more sacks than the 49ers. Riddle me that. How is it that the #1 defense in the league, Nick Bosa this, and Jerome Kinlaw this, and Fred Warner, our defense, I think, played better than they did. That's, again, my opinion. I could be wrong. There was one man to blame on Sunday, and that's Tua Tagovailoa, because all we seen all last week, look at Jalen Waddle. They got a handshake. Look at Tyreek. They're dancing on the field. Tua, oh, my God, Sunday came and looked like a kid that didn't want to be on the field. And everything we given this kid praise for the past couple of weeks. Man, look at Tua on the sideline. He's praising and pumping up the offensive line. Man, look at Tua. He's talking to Coach McDaniel, and he's on the same wavelength. And where did all that go? And again, the excuses are the linebackers had great depth. They didn't have great depth. They didn't make no plays. We let the 49ers off the hook. And when I say let me just be honest. It was Tua that let them. It wasn't the Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa struggled in a big game. Now I just want y'all and again, today we're going to drop the panel because, again, my show, I want it to be interactive. I want you guys to come and tell me where I'm wrong or tell me if I'm right. But let's just go back at it, right? Let's go back to Alabama. Freshman. He's not the starter. He didn't throw one pass that season. He comes in at halftime, and everybody tells me, oh, it's a big game. That was a huge game. He won the national championship. Well, in my opinion, it's real easy to come in as a backup. We've seen it this week with Brock Purdy. He had no pressure on him. If Brock Purdy would have came out this week and he would have looked like absolute dog shit, would people would have been killing him? No. They would have been like, he's Mr. Irrelevant. It didn't really matter. Let him get a week under his belt. Let's see if he can get better. Right? That's what the narrative would have been. So don't miss me with Tua Tagovailoa coming in at a game in a season where he didn't throw one pass that season, no film on him, and he comes in and makes 7 great passes in a championship game to win the game. Let's fast forward a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to the next year where Jalen Hurts got benched for one Tua Tagovailoa. He's the starter. LSU, right? Big game, SEC, rival. What happened? Tua took the L. Alabama took the L. And if you look, horrible game by Tua. Didn't play well. Yeah, the numbers were there. Stats were there. But if you look at it, if you really look at it and you're objective to it, he didn't play well. Right? The playoff game before the national championship game, they played Georgia. Alabama did. Tua Tagovailoa was the starter. Does anyone remember what happened in that Georgia game? Let me remind everybody. Uno got benched for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts came in to save the game. Jalen Hurts is the reason that in the season that Tua Tagovailoa was named the starter, right? Jalen Hurts is the reason, just like you tell me Tua won the championship for Jalen Hurts the year before. Well, then the reason Tua made the championship game was because of Jalen Hurts. Because Tua didn't finish that game. He got benched. They played the national championship game the next week. Tua Tagovailoa was the starter. They took the L to Clemson. A big game, right? You're starting to see a pattern here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to the NFL. 2 years ago, you win and you get in at Buffalo. Win and get in. You're in the playoffs. One of Tua's worst games we've probably ever seen him play as a Miami Dolphin. Oh, wait, hold on. There's more. Last year, we're going to Tennessee, riding a 7-game winning streak, right? Let's run through the teams that we beat in that 7-game winning streak. The Carolina Panthers, the New York Giants. I think the Jets were on that schedule. I think the Houston Texans, which I believe that was Jacoby Brissett's win, but that's another, whatever. Those teams, Tua Tagovailoa has no problem beating. We've seen it this year. Look at the streak. Look at the 5-game winning streak. Look at the teams we played. Now, again, I'm not saying no team is basically trash, but we know the upper echelon teams in the NFL. I wouldn't put Chicago, Detroit, Houston, even Cleveland for that matter, without a Deshaun Watson. I wouldn't put them in that category. Oh, Uno's eating. QB1, MVP, he's eating. Right? Go back. Anyone remember what happened to Tua last year? Win and get in scenario in the playoffs at Tennessee? Horrible game by Tua. Horrible game. Right? Same thing we seen on Sunday afternoon in San Fran. We seen a guy that looked like the moment was too big for him. Me personally, again, I don't want to speak for nobody. We'll do that when the link gets dropped. I seen a guy on Sunday afternoon that he wanted to be further away from that stadium. You could have threw Tua anywhere else besides there. I didn't see no high-fiving. I didn't see no dancing. I didn't see no, hey, offensive line pumping guys up, smacking them in their ass. I didn't see any of that. What I seen was a guy sitting his happy ass alone on the sideline with his head down. That's what I seen. In a big moment. In a big game. Right? You remember when Brian Flores came out and well, we never heard him say it, but rumors, and everybody's heard those same rumors, that Brian Flores was telling people within the organization, I can't win with Tua. I can't win with Tua. You want me to tell you in how my mind works, ladies and gentlemen? When I hear, or if that's the case, Brian Flores saying that, what I hear is, Brian Flores ain't saying that he can't win with Tua Tagovailoa against the Houston Texans, the Chicago Bears, the Detroit Lions, the whoever else, the Jets, New England for that matter. There you go. You know what Brian Flores was talking about? You can't win with Tua Tagovailoa against the Buffalo Bills, against the Kansas City Chiefs, against the Cincinnati Bengals. Those are the games Brian Flores was talking about. And was he wrong? Was he wrong? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Hell, think about it. I just seen Von Joe in the chat, and Von Joe is making a great point. He's had 2 other primetime games this year. Pittsburgh, primetime, under the lights. Sunday Night Football. The return of Brian Flores looked like absolute dog water in that game. A Thursday night in Cincinnati this year, right? Going into the game, 3-0. Big matchup against Joe Burrow. Cincinnati was kind of reeling at that point, remember? We seen Tua Tagovailoa throwing up gang signs on the field. And again, I'm not making fun of him. I hated to see that. I absolutely, it was sickening to see Uno on the field. But again, Von Joe makes a good point. That's a big-time game. That's a prime-time game. All eyes. No other game in the NFL was going. All eyes on Tua. I'm just saying, guys, I'm starting to see a pattern. I really am. And it's getting to the point that, again, Tua's a good quarterback in the league, my opinion. You can win games with him. But if you ask me right now, gun to my head, hey, do you got your franchise guy? Well, define franchise to me. Do I got a guy that I think can win 9, 10 games a season? Hell, give him 11. Make the playoffs? Yeah, why not? Absolutely. I think Tennessee also has one of those in Ryan Tannehill. Are we going to say that Ryan Tannehill is a franchise quarterback? Because Tennessee's in the playoffs every year. Right? They make the playoffs. So, yeah, Tua can be one of those guys. But do I believe that going in, and I think Color says it all the time, or he's been saying it, that he doesn't kind of believe that we're going to go into Buffalo for whatever reason. Could be short rest, playing now on Saturday, obviously the travel coming away from 2 West Coast, whatever the fact may be, right? The fact of the matter is, do I believe that Uno can go to Buffalo and win that game? I do not. Do I believe Championship Sunday, do I have a quarterback on this roster that can win me that game? I do not. Now, again, until proven otherwise, right? This is where I'm gonna stand. And that's not me being a hater. That's not me rooting against Tua Tagovailoa, because Sunday night against the Chargers, I'll have my Uno jersey on. Saturday night when we go to Buffalo, I'll have my Uno jersey on. But again, these concerns that I have about big game scenarios and Uno, they're not going to go away until Uno proves that he can get over that hump. I've just given you plenty of games where in the biggest moments, he doesn't show up. And it's frustrating. Because, again, I've sat back for the past 2 days, and I've heard everybody make these same excuses. I've heard people say blame the defense in San Fran. I've heard people blame the offensive line in San Fran. I've heard people the depth of the linebackers, like I said. Come on, man. You think the 49ers are the only people that have been setting their linebackers 2 yards a step back? The problem is Uno's been connecting because Uno's never had that big press. What pressure do you have playing the Houston Texans? My mistake. I was about to say Tennessee. There's no pressure in that. There's no pressure beating a Jacoby Brissett Cleveland Browns team. There's no pressure in beating who else was on that streak? Oh, the Chicago Bears? There's no pressure. This game right here against San Fran, that was pressure. I think we could all feel it in the fan base. Now, people will tell me, or been telling me, well, Lewis, if he beats the Chargers on Sunday Night Football, is that a big game? Well, the way I look at it, it's a big game for Tua in the aspect of he can, for the Tua nears, he can silence that narrative between him and Justin Herbert. But let's be honest. Is the Los Angeles Chargers a very good team? I think the last time I checked, they were ranked 26th in total defense. Joey Bosa will not be there for this game. J.C. Jackson will not be there for this game. I believe they also have 2 starting offensive linemen that are out for the year. So is that a big game, or is that a game that really, if you look at it on paper, the Miami Dolphins should be winning? The only thing the Chargers got is Herbert. So I do expect our Miami Dolphins to walk in on Sunday night and beat the Chargers. At least that's what I'm hoping. And I do believe that. I think Tua Tagovailoa plays well in that game. I even think Tua Tagovailoa might be the reason that we win that game, right? Delivering the ball accurately, delivering the ball effectively and on time and in rhythm. I believe all that. Now, next week, Saturday night, y'all ain't going to like me that week. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm picking the Buffalo Bills in that game. I'll tell you right now, 2 weeks out, I got Buffalo. Doesn't matter to me how many hype videos I see. Doesn't matter to me how many videos I see of our players in the facility dancing and laughing and creating handshakes. I don't give a shit about none of that. And let me be very clear before I drop the link. Let me be very, very clear. I don't believe, because I think Mark is in here. I also think I seen Michael K. Let me be very clear for the Buffalo fans that are in here. It's not because Buffalo's better than us. I don't believe team matchup for matchup and stuff. I don't think y'all are better than us. What I think is I just don't have the kind of quarterback that can go into that game and win. I really don't. And hopefully Uno, number 1, proves me wrong. And if he does, I'll be labeled the hater now, right? Because I said it. And if he does, I'll be the first one to ask El Capitan, Color, Ali, or anybody else to let's fire up this link or fire up this stream so I can get the opportunity to personally come out and apologize to Uno and give Uno all the credit, because I'm not a hater. I'm just not a homer. I think y'all got the letter H, y'all got it wrong. Y'all want to label people as haters. No, we're not haters. We're just not homers. And I'm not going to say I'm more of a real fan than other people in this community that, let's just call it what it is, that are haters. I'm not saying I'm that. I'm just saying that how I am and what I'm going to bring to this community and to these streams and to anywhere that my voice is heard, I'm going to be as real as I possibly can. And I'm going to give it to y'all how I feel. 100%. And in my opinion, again, look at it. Big game moments, big situations, Tua doesn't show up. Look at EM. I see a homie in the building. I see the homie in the building. Appreciate you, EM. I don't know where EM lies in what I've been saying, but I'm sure, we'll talk about it, figure it out. And again, hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Uno comes out and dominates and puts this whole narrative to bed. But I can't be one of these fans just I hope and I hope and I hope and I pray. And when I sleep at night before I go to bed, I pray that Tua's going to succeed. I'm not one of those people. I don't need to pray for him to succeed. For him to succeed, he needs to take his happy ass on the field and play better. Period. Well, Rashada, I'm sorry that you think that everything I've said is wrong. I appreciate you being here. What I'm going to do now, I've been on this tangent for now, 27 minutes. We're going to drop the link. We're going to drop the link, and I want everybody to come tell me where I'm wrong at and tell me, was I wrong about the assessment I had with Tua last year in Tennessee? Was I wrong 2 years ago in Buffalo? Was I wrong in the scenarios this year that I brought up with Pittsburgh? And those ain't even big games. We're just talking about primetime games. Where was I wrong? Was I wrong when my
Holy
assessment?
dang, they're popping in quick, bro.
Oh, Color, you already knew it was gonna be on and popping.
Yeah, I pinned the link up top, guys. First of all, Lewis, great job, man. I can't say I disagree with you in the slightest. Hold on, let me end this spam call coming in. Oh, there we go. First of all, I just wanted to personally thank Pete. Capitan had sent me over some donations from Cash App that were personally meant for me, and I appreciate that, Pete. They were kind of gathering up, and we're all busy, but he sent it over to me and let me know that you had sent those, and I appreciate that a lot. I don't see also Bentley. I did the same thing, and I don't see him in chat yet, so I'll have to thank him once I see Bentley around. But if you catch this show in retro, Bentley, and I don't get to it, thank you very much for the donation as well. So who do you want first, Lewis? I got Alex in back, Pete, Mountie Fins, Crypto, Fins Fanatic 305 just rolled in. Tua Kirk Cousins just rolled in.
I don't hide from nobody, Color. If they want it, they can all come up here and get in, and we can have a conversation. If it gets out of control, we know what to do. But I doubt it, man. Listen,
I'll just bring him in order then.
There you go.
Lewis, you're such a Tua hater.
Well, Alex was the first one in, Pete, so we'll let him go first. I know Rashad's got to get in on the action.
You stole my thunder, Pete.
Hold on. I'm going to organize it.
I'm going to let Lewis
organize it here.
Go ahead.
Hold on, guys. I'm going to organize it here. Hold on. We got Alexander, and I know Alexander and Rashad are going to want to push back on Lewis, so I'm putting them right up next to Lewis in order that they're going to go. And then so far, that's how I'm going to do that. And then I'll let Lewis decide after all of that once Alex and Rashad get a chance to rebut Lewis.
Well, there you go, Alex. There was your introduction. Color made it very clear what the lineup is. We're going Alex and then Rashad. So welcome, Alex. Well, first off, welcome all you guys. But go ahead, Alex. You got the floor.
What's going on, guys? Lewis, congrats, bro, again. Mad respect to you. Mad respect to Color.
Appreciate you.
Everybody on this panel, as well. You know what, Lewis? Hey, I can't. No disrespect to you, and no disrespect to anybody that has their own opinion. I can never kill you guys for having your own opinions about everything. You guys are my boys, and I never want to disrespect you and everybody else. But my pushback is this: Tua has already proven to me he's won the big game, and he's already a franchise guy. Okay, he's already proven to me one bad game does not change the fact that this kid is really a really damn good quarterback. Okay.
Again, did you hear? Hold on, Alex. Let me push back because again, we're gonna have a great conversation. But that's not pushing back on me. I came out here and told you to it.
I'm not there yet.
Okay, continue. Go ahead.
The Tennessee game last year,
right?
That's not all on him. The defense played like dog shit too.
You are crazy. You are crazy.
It was 17-3, Alex.
It was that dog shit. They allowed a third-string running back to run for over 100 yards.
It don't matter. It was the fact of the matter is it was 17-3, Alex. Those are the facts. I don't care what the yardage was.
Times as well. That game they had.
Alex
is not lying.
Okay, no, he's not lying. But let me prove to you that right here, what Alex is saying about a third-string running back having the numbers don't mean nothing. Didn't Tua Tagovailoa have basically 300 yards passing in San Francisco? What do numbers have to do?
295.
Okay, 295, basically 300. What do numbers have to do with the fact that it doesn't matter about wins or losses? It doesn't have to do with you playing bad or not. That argument you have about the third string running back having all these yards don't hold no water. It doesn't. What did the yards? The fact of the matter is,
I think what Alex
quarter,
is saying,
it was 17-3 in the fourth
I think
quarter.
what Alex is saying is the Tennessee game, that the game plan was just not there. It was a trash game plan from the jump.
Yes.
Okay.
He's blaming the team. He's blaming the team.
Was the game plan in San Francisco the wrong game plan in both of y'all's opinion? Was it the wrong game plan?
No. I think what McDaniel should have done. I think what McDaniel should have done is run the ball more.
Okay.
I think we
why
all
is
think that?
Why is that, Alex?
Because he knew that Tua was off. Okay. He knew that Tua was off. And
so scratch.
And he should have ran the ball more. But I'm not going to sit here. And, again, Tua, the main reason why we lost is because of Tua, and I totally understand that.
100%.
But they should have ran the ball more. I guarantee you this: 4 of those throws, we're singing a different tune today about Sunday's game. I say 4 of the throws.
I don't believe those. I don't believe that one.
I still think we would have beaten if Tua was on in that game. We would have beaten San Francisco without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was not.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
He choked. He choked.
He didn't don't give me that. He didn't choke garbage, man. He beat Baltimore.
Alex, stop, man.
Honestly,
Hold on, fellas.
It's like any other big game.
And he beat the Patriots earlier this year.
Hold on.
The Patriots have a good defense.
Hold
on, in Tennessee, 3 interceptions.
Hold on, Mounty.
He beat Buffalo and Baltimore this year.
Wait, Alex. I got you, Alex.
Go ahead.
Hold on, Alex. Let's go back in order. Let Rashad, because we already killed Alex.
My bad, Rashad. Go ahead, bro.
So go ahead, Rashad. We already got one down.
All right. So what defines a big game? What exactly is a big game? Is it a must win? Is it a must win game? Is it a game versus a top tier opponent? Is it a game that we're supposed to lose but we end up winning? Like what is a big game exactly?
Let me answer that right now, Rashad.
By the way, thanks for the question, Rashad, because it ties right into the poll. I appreciate you bringing up that discussion because it'll give everybody a chance to contemplate.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That is a very good question.
Appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. That's a very good question. And in my opinion, Rashad, the San Francisco game is a big game because you're 8-3. Looking at the schedule, Kansas City was playing their toughest remaining game of the season at Cincinnati. They were, again, both playing at the same time. You're watching while you're getting your butts kicked. And I won't even say butt kicks because with 4 minutes to go, it was 23-16. You're down 6. You're watching that Kansas City is down. A big game is that you win this game, and you know that if you win this game, you're now the number 1 seed in the conference. You don't think Tua was scoreboard watching? I'll ask you a question, Rashad, because you were in the building. Were you scoreboard watching against the game for Cincinnati?
I definitely wasn't because I wasn't watching no other games while I was there. But in that contents of what you saying the big game is, that was Tua's first big game?
In my opinion,
No.
this season,
It would be
I would say
period.
yes. Well,
That's his first big game of his career.
It was the
No,
To
biggest
get in
dude,
the
game
he
we
just
first
told
had
you.
this
two.
season.
Absolutely
He
not.
just told you the
No,
Buffalo
Buffalo,
game.
I just
He
told you
told you
To
the
Buffalo did
Tennessee game.
Tennessee.
No,
This is like his fifth game.
what he just said was when you have the opportunity late in the season to get into first place, and that's the big game right there. That's the first big game
Well,
right
That's an
there.
example of a
well,
big
can
game.
I? Well,
That's
can
an
I?
example.
Okay, it's
That's
an
an
That's an
Okay,
example.
example of a
example.
big
Okay,
game.
I respect that.
If you win, hey Rashad, if you win last year at Tennessee to get in the playoffs, that's a big game. He folded like a drum. He folded like
well,
a
here's
drum.
what
Hold on,
here's what I
Three
got to say
interceptions
about
again.
this.
Let me
Can I?
comment
Can
on
I
that real
go?
quick.
Hang on, y'all.
Wait.
We could say that John Elway.
Let me say something about this Tennessee game.
We could say
Because we were 2-6 or 2-7. So every game after that was a big game. Because that was one game all those games was must win. So every one of those games was a
I'm
big game.
sorry. I thought we would have been number one in the AFC if we would have won this game.
No. Wait. We taking it back to Tennessee last year. Every game leading up to Tennessee was a big game because it was a must win, right?
Yeah, but Rashad, the narrative is after the Tennessee game. I know what you're trying to get to the New England game where we won. No, but the problem is that Tennessee game. If you win, you're in the playoffs. It was a lot. It was a lot.
No.
And when you
But we
lost that
have to
big
win
game,
every game before that. After the Texans or after he came back, we have to win every game. That Baltimore game was a big game.
Rashad, but
That
No, it
Giants
wasn't.
game was a good.
That for the
Okay.
record, the Baltimore game is Brissett's win. Brissett started the game.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He
But
played a
and when
full
you-
half.
Carolina,
Rashad,
New
Carolina's
York,
trash. They're
Also,
trash.
New
for the
Orleans.
record,
but
I just want to point
we
out
were
for the
trash
record,
too. We were
Rashad,
2-6.
real quick, I just want to point out for the record that going into Tennessee last year, we still had more than a mathematical chance to win the division, not just make the playoffs. I just
There you
wanted
go.
to put that
Win the
fact out.
division. We wasn't
Good
winning the
point, Carl.
Yeah.
division.
Yeah,
What are y'all
you
talking
could
Now-
have
now-
won
We
the
wasn't winning the division, but we
We
had
wasn't
more
winning
than a
the-
mathematical chance, is what I'm
Now,
saying.
I don't want to say.
No,
I don't want to
we had
say.
six
I don't want to
losses.
sit here. I don't want to sit here and call anybody and say that they're wrong on what is a big game or not. That's everybody's opinion. But as a Dolphin fan, me speaking and coming in and looking into the season, this season is all about Tua. It literally is. It has always been about Tua. And the
True.
big games that I'm talking about, what are the narratives? What have we honestly seen him fail at? It's been late in the season when the weather gets chilly. And what did we just witness? This is the first cold weather game Tua plays. I had some fans telling me they're crazy, Pete. 55 is not cold. Well, it showed up on Tua's
That's not a
resume.
cold weather game.
55, you wear the sweater. Well, it had something to do with his accuracy.
When he gets to Buffalo, that's a cold weather game.
So
You see
it
him
had
out there
something
with
to
the
do.
orange out.
Wait. So the narrative for me where Tua needs to show up in big games is not regular season. No, it's late in the seasons when the game matters and the weather doesn't favor us. That's it. If we can't win the division, we're never going to feel comfortable with Tua under helm traveling anywhere in this AFC East to win. It don't matter if we got to go to Buffalo, if the Jets, or if the Patriots. Any of those three teams win the East, we are in trouble as a wild card team under Tua. So those are the big games that Tua needs to learn that he can play. He can be accurate in 55-degree weather and below, and he can show up. That's where he needs to show. These remaining games are the big games.
And right there, TD's comment, I agree with. See, everybody's going to make the narrative out about this Charger game being a big game. I don't see that. The Chargers are not a good team. This is a game that Miami is expected to win.
I don't think none of these games
Buffalo
are big games. I'm going to be real.
Rashad, how can you come out and say Buffalo is not a big game?
Buffalo's a big game. But
okay, Rashad, if
Chargers, Niners, nah.
Rashad, what do you mean?
Because if we still lose to the Chargers, listen.
Rashad, you were in the building. Rashad, you were in the building. I'll ask you a question.
The Chargers, we're still in seventh place.
Rashad, hold on. You were in the building
no matter
in San
what
Francisco.
Happened.
Rashad, hold on. You were in the
listening.
building in San Francisco. Did you feel? Because again, just watching it on TV, it had a playoff kind of vibe to it. It had you sitting in that stadium. Did it feel like a big game to you, Rashad?
No.
That really?
No.
Oh,
That
come
man
on,
But
lying.
Rashad. Come on,
I'm
Rashad.
Rashad,
Rashad.
That man
but
lying.
hold on.
I'm
One
dead.
question. Hold on. I got one
I
question
looked
for
at it as
Rashad. I have
I
one
looked at it
question.
as
It
I have
definitely was
one
swayed up like
question
that.
for
It did.
Rashad.
this is from
I
my
have
this is from
Rashad. I
my
have one question for
perspective. It
you.
was my first
Rashad.
Dolphins.
affect our
Hold on, wait a minute.
Rashad,
Let me tell y'all why.
Rashad, one
Can I
question,
wait, Pete?
Rashad,
Wait,
real quick. It's real
Pete.
quick. You're gonna
Because
answer this real quick.
I don't want to get
When
off
you
the
woke up,
subject, Pete.
I know, but when you woke up and headed to the game, did you wear a tank top or a jacket? What did you have to wear that game?
I
Be
wore a
honest.
thermal and a jersey.
You wear what?
A thermal and a jersey.
Oh, it was
Thermal
cold.
in the
Go ahead.
jersey. That's thermal.
I don't believe. Listen, I want to get everybody else's thoughts because I've heard from Rashad, Alex, and Pete. But I
No,
want to
wait.
bring
Before
in
we get off the
Mountie.
subject, okay, bring everybody in. But
I
before
want
we
to
get
bring
off that
Mountie
subject,
and
because I knew
Crypto.
that was gonna happen.
What? No. Well, hold on, Rashad. What subject you want to bring up? What are you talking about?
Before Pete cut me off about the big
Okay.
game, it wasn't a big game for. It wasn't a big game for me. It wasn't a big game for me.
Hey, mute yourself, Lance.
Oh, I thought he was talking to me. It wasn't a big game for me. It was just a test for Tua, because I seen the lineup, the teams that we played.
And how did he
4 or
do in
5
that
games.
test? And how did he do in that test, Rashad?
He failed.
Thank you.
It doesn't
That's
make
all
it a
we're
big
saying.
game for me. It doesn't make
But
it
it's
a big.
Rashad,
Listen,
let me ask you a
he's not the
question.
only one who failed. He's not the only one who failed, Lewis.
He's the
Coaches
reason we lost the
failed.
game. No, they didn't. No, they. How did the
No,
coaches fail?
wait.
Rashad,
We could have won.
Rashad,
We could have
how
won that game. We could have won that game.
Right, and we didn't
Play
because Uno
calling
didn't show
was
up.
a failure. Drops was a failure.
Rashad, there was people
Lewis.
running up and down the field all game long.
Okay,
Rashad,
okay,
what are you
okay,
talking
okay,
about?
Play calling was
Watch
okay.
this. Watch this.
This
Watch
sounds
this.
like Tennessee all over again, bro.
Watch this. Wilson catches the ball. That's a touchdown. Are we winning or losing?
Wilson, that was first of all.
That was
hold
a
on.
perfect pass. He stutter stepped and jumped because he was afraid of going out of
Rashad's
bounds.
right about
That
that
was
pass.
an accurate
Wilson
pass,
stopped on
and we
his
would have took the
routes.
lead. He stopped,
y'all
looked up,
y'all let
and
me know.
jumped because he tried to keep 2 feet in.
Right. Now,
Rashad
hold
has a
on.
point.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
That doesn't mean the game's over.
No,
It's still like 10
no,
minutes
no.
to go after
I'm
that.
not saying it's over. We have the lead.
Hold on. No, I ain't gonna let y'all get away with this. Jeff Wilson Jr. escaped out of the backfield on a wheel route. That man had at least 1.5 to 2 feet away from the sideline. Tua needs to throw that ball over his shoulder to the inside of his body. If you look at the play, the only reason Jeff Wilson Jr. had to jump because Tua threw it like a back shoulder throw. He threw it to the sideline.
If you look at the play, he slows
up on his
down.
route.
He slows down, and
General
then he's
Lust
trying to
even pointed that out.
Okay, all right, bro.
Orlowski even pointed that out on ESPN.
If you look at it from the
Dan
all-22
Orlowski has been dead wrong.
He stopped.
They even pointed that out.
All right.
And nothing is just with the Jalen Waddle drop that went right through his hands.
Y'all capping.
Waddle ran too far in his route.
This is the funny part about it. You're saying we're capping, and then you're going to go watch that all-22 view, and you're like, oh, damn, they were right.
I don't have to watch all 22.
Rashad and Alex, you guys are capping, bro. All we saw was wide open guys and Tua missing them left and right. That's literally what happened, bro.
And here's a big screen of him slow down, turn around, and then try to pick up speed again.
And you know, hey, let me tell you something. And let me tell you something that I continue to see. This is an issue under Tua that I continue to see that it kind of like it's baffling to me. You know that there's times he could sit back there and have more time. Are you guys aware of this? Yeah, there's times he has pressure, but are you guys aware that there's times he has a really clean pocket? He could sit there and really scan the field, and he doesn't decide to do that because he looks scary. That's the issue.
He is not scared. That man played through broken ribs last year.
That pisses me off. So, bro, the play in the first quarter, and I'm going to give you guys a perfect example. The play in the first quarter, and hold on, the play in the first quarter, Sherfield up the middle where the linebacker almost picked it with one hand. If he would have waited, and there was pressure that was a stunt performed, so there was pressure up the middle, but all Tua had to do was take 4 to 5 steps, maybe a slow rollout to the right. He's left-handed, but quarterbacks are supposed to do this. He rolls out to the right, buys 1 extra second, Watch that play again and tell me Tyreek Hill doesn't score a touchdown. This is
again,
what is important as a quarterback that you must be able to do. This is why when I was up here screaming that Tua is leaving so much meat on these bones, it didn't really matter versus the Lions, Bears, and Steelers.
Hold on, Pete.
But now when you need him, how come we can't win these games? Because he's leaving it all on the field. All right, Lewis.
Let Monty get in this. Go ahead, Monty.
Hey, Lou. I'm gonna just say this, and y'all already know I'm not a person of being long-winded, but I'm gonna just tell you this. I learned in school, a professor said, documentation wins the conversation. If you're not adamant in being a student of the all 22, I don't see how you can get up here and debate what's going on Sunday. Now, maybe you saw something, maybe you didn't see something, but if you see the all 22, it speaks for itself. Tua was missing a lot of open guys, and then
100%.
What other receivers around the league, have to jump more for their passes than Tua? Tua's
none. Good point. Good point.
For years, I've said that for 2 years.
That's always been my concern.
Hold on, Rashad. Let Monty get out. Hold on, Rashad. Let Monty play.
I spoke to Color about this last week or something like that, because that concerns me, because anytime a pass catcher has to leave his feet, you open yourself up to just injury. You come down wrong, someone comes down underneath you. Fucking bullshit. That's been my concern with Tua, is his ball placement down the field. He can throw the short, quick, intermediate shit, but down the field. And then that pass to Jeff Wilson Jr. in the flat was thrown behind him. He had to turn
100%.
to try to catch it. That ball placement is his problem.
It was like a back shoulder throw. He threw it like a back shoulder.
Bro, he makes running backs adjust. They have to adjust like they're wide receivers. Come on now.
Y'all know that
you know
was
what's
the same
funny?
play.
Hold on, Rashad. Yeah, it's the same play that you were just about. Ain't that the same play that Christian McCaffrey ran and caught?
No.
Yeah, yes, it is. Right out the backfield.
It was the same.
A wheel route.
Listen.
No, McCaffrey kind of did like an out and up.
No.
Okay, basically the same thing.
Or the same route.
Come on, man.
The same route.
Yeah, it's still the same thing. You're right.
The same one Waddle caught in line versus the Lions was that same route. It was a little fade to the outside over the shoulder.
It was a horrible throw.
Inside.
It was over his head into a bucket.
To the wrong shoulder.
No,
it was over the wrong shoulder.
Oh my God, bro.
Yes, it was. It was like a back shoulder play, Rashad. You're wrong.
He positioned his body Aki, bro. It was there. You could see him trying to catch it. And that's what I've been saying. And let me point. Hey, Sharif, you're about to have the floor. But let me tell you something. And Crypto's about to hate this. The interception that Tua threw, a bad accurate ball to Tyreek Hill that he tapped it behind him.
Mm-hmm. That was horrible pass.
Devontae Parker catches that ball. You want me to tell you why? He's longer, taller, and he can make those type of. Gesicki would have caught that ball.
And slow.
You get me?
No one catches
but
that.
Since they're short, since he was short and running so fast, he didn't have no time.
A slower receiver isn't quick to that sideline like that. So
before we let Sharif the main reason why
but hold on, Rashad. If you look at that play,
that's why he got bad ball placement.
Hey, if you look at that interception, this is one thing I pointed out on Jalen Waddle last year. Hold on, my neighbor's cutting the yard. What's up, boss? You good? If you look at this, is what I said last year, that Tua's not letting the speed of these receivers actually be speed. You have to see Tyreek. Hey, Tua literally has these receivers walking off the line of scrimmage. Look at Tyreek Hill on that play. He can't use his speed because if he goes, it's too fast for Tua. Look at it.
What's the long guy say?
He said, "What's up, neighbor?"
No, I mean, what's he say about Waddle?
I saw 3 plays where Tua could have gone deep.
Well, hold on, Sharif. Before you start cooking, bro, I wanted to remind everybody and give you a update right at the moment. Hold on just a sec. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we got 48 votes on the poll right now. For those who are listening or are only listening, the question was, does the Chargers game qualify as a, quote, big game despite facing the 26th ranked defense? Currently, we have 49 votes. 67% say yes. 29% say no, 4% say this never matters after hearing the heated debate that's been going on about that very question as what constitutes a big game. So thank you for those who voted. I'm going to keep it open for a little while longer and see if the results change at all.
I appreciate it. And I just wanted to address Jose's comment.
I think the people.
Hold on, Monty. Hold on real quick, because again, the comment says with guys like this and the guys that are on the panel, they'll never let it go. We'll never be able to move on. Bro, this is Wednesday. I haven't
Jose,
said my
bring your ass
piece
up here, bro.
Jose,
hold on,
you've
Cap.
been
Hold on,
wrong the whole time.
Hold on, Pete. Hold on. What I'm just saying is I haven't said my piece since Sunday after the game. I tried to calm down and I tried to gather my thoughts, and that's now. Color has already told you the week of a Dolphin fan. By tomorrow, this conversation is over. By tomorrow, we start looking for the Chargers. By Saturday, we're all in this Dolphins picking the Miami Dolphins to win. But again, Wednesday, and me personally, since I am the host of the show, not trying to, toot the own horn or nothing. But again, I just think that this conversation is one that needs to be had. Because again, we killed Brian Flores, right? I said it in the opening monologue. I can't win with Tua, right? These are the games right here. These are the moments right here that he was talking about. We've went on winning streaks before with Tua, but look at the winning streaks. When can we say, man, we beat a good team? When can we say, man, we beat Kansas City? When can we say, man, we just beat Buffalo? We can't say that. We're not winning those games. I don't care. I don't care about the Giants, the Houston Texans, the Cleveland Browns. Who gives a shit about those games?
So
who cares?
I think there's
We beat
I
both
think there's
already,
things,
so that's
yeah.
And
think
you know
there's two
what?
things
Talking about, go ahead, Sharif.
we beat
Yeah, I
Baltimore
think
already.
there's two things that's important that we're not looking at.
We beat
And
Buffalo too.
the three, because I thought Teron Armstead tried to take attention off of something when he said I'll play. All the media, all of us took that, we took that on Monday morning. We were like, okay, Armstead may play. And then another news came out of Raheem
Oh,
Mostert.
don't do the Jimmy G thing, bro. You're gonna start another war with that Jimmy G comment.
Listen, the facts is the facts, bro. Then, so that was already a diversion. So Twitter had that fight with Mostert and Debo. But then the interview coming up to the game before Jimmy G started, there was an interview and he actually doubled down because even Locked On Fins, Dudley, TD, everyone has the rumors of Jimmy G coming in after we got McDaniel. My thing is this. Why did Jimmy G brought that up in the interview Wednesday coming up to the game? I don't know why he brought it up, but he said that, the Dolphins had interest, but I guess they didn't have enough capital. My thing is this. If that's into his head, right? I'm not done. If that's into his head, and if it's also into his head that I need Teron Armstead, I can understand why Flores would say you can't win with him, because if I need Teron and I need for McDaniel to love me and for Greer to not do due diligence, dude, if Greer wanted to do due diligence and look at Jimmy, it is what it is. It's a business. If you let that shit bother you coming up to the game, I can't win with you. And if you need Teron Armstead, I can't win with you, bro. Look at innovative quarterbacks. They do shit.
But wait, Sharif,
bro.
This is almost breaking news. This is almost breaking news.
Sharif, you were cooking for 2 seconds, but you brought up Flores and the worst offensive line in NFL history, and that just
all I'm saying
You
is
totally let that gloss
said.
over your head, Rashad, about the context of what he's saying.
No.
He's saying there was a
That's what they
reason
looking at.
That's what they
on
looking
why
at.
Flores said what he said.
If you need
Teron
Armstead,
hold on,
Sharif.
and you don't like how Greer does his due diligence, and you don't like how Greer does his due diligence, and you want to punch Greer in the mouth, then go punch Greer in the mouth.
On, Sharif.
I need you to win. I need you to win. That's all I need you to do, and you're not winning.
Sharif, I appreciate it, and I think you made some pretty good points. But I do want to give other people a chance. So I'm gonna go to
I
Cat for
haven't had
Life.
my chance.
You.
But
Oh,
go
I thought
ahead.
you
You
were done.
just
Oh
ripped
no,
for 5 minutes.
I
Hey,
thought
hey, Lou,
you
no,
had.
let them cook. Let them cook. It's good. I'll wait. Let them cook.
All right, go ahead, Sharif. Continue. My fault. I didn't know. I thought you were done. My fault. I'm sorry.
Maybe he
Go
broke
ahead,
up.
Sharif.
All right, he ain't
Yeah,
cooking.
he
All right, I'll
ran
take over.
off. He ran
Well,
off because
oh,
he ain't
okay.
letting
Well,
people cook.
I guess I'm not letting people cook then. My fault. My fault. Well,
And
again, listen. I think
I'm back.
Sharif. I think Sharif went on a tangent, and it's kind of not like where the conversation was. Again, I posed a question. That's the name of the title. I just want to get everybody's opinion. Am I off base? I've heard from Alex. I heard from Rashad. I heard from Pete. But the question is, again, Color put up the poll. What's considered a big game? And again, am I off basis by saying my opinion? Tua just doesn't win the big game, so I'm going to throw it again.
look,
If Cap,
real quick.
go
Yeah,
ahead,
real
Cap.
quick, man. Look,
Yeah, go
for
ahead.
me, man, and thank you, man, for opening up this panel in the afternoon, man, because it seems like everybody likes the dog on the wolf pack, but the wolf pack is the only one keeping the lines of communication open when the crap hits the fan. And, you know, for
Ain't
people to
nobody
say that
worried
this
about
game is
y'all.
not going to be, for people to say that this game is
Nobody
not a
worried
big
about you,
game.
Otis.
Okay, but check it. If we lose to the Chargers on Sunday, bro, that's 2 games back to back in California in decent weather. We're not even touching the Buffalo game yet. You really think that when that Buffalo game comes, they're going to give us any opportunity to make noise? No, bro. They're going to go for the kill. That's it. Because even though we have that 80% chance of making the playoffs, if we lose these next 2 games, that percentage goes down to 50 or even
And
worse.
not to mention it's a conference game,
Yeah.
so they can play spoiler.
Yeah, it drops dramatically if Buffalo can
Y'all,
put the nail in the coffin if they
I've
play
already
tough.
told this
y'all,
fan base.
y'all
If
need
we
to
lose to the
relax.
Chargers,
Y'all need to relax. If y'all look at the schedules coming up for every team in the AFC, a lot of these teams going to be knocking each other off. So
Well, okay,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
trying to
We're
depend.
getting
I'm not trying to
we're
depend on other teams. We got to do what we need to do. But
right.
that's
Well, no,
why.
but
That's why I'm
Can you
saying
Yeah,
I'm
guys
not
hear
but
me
putting
now?
nothing
see,
out of the
Rashad,
bottle.
but you got to
listen.
admit,
That's why I
Rashad,
said
last
if
time
you
we
Buffalo.
used
thinking
the
we're making
word,
the playoffs with 10
hey, but
wins,
real
it's going to
quick,
be highly difficult.
last time we used the word destiny, that was last year during the Tennessee game. And people don't want to bring up the Tennessee game, but we had the destiny
Exactly.
in our hand that time too. And what the hell happened then?
The
We
only
had
thing
destiny
we
in
know
our
how to
hands every
bring up
game
with
before that
Tua,
too.
the only thing we know how to bring up with Tua, and I keep saying it, and nobody wants to write it because they haven't seen snow yet. I guess they have to see a monsoon to call it a bad weather game. I'm going to go ahead and repeat it. What everybody keeps saying, Titans, bad weather. Yes, that was horrible weather, but it doesn't mean that it was not cold in San Francisco. The inaccuracy showed. Our guys were wide open. And look, we've been screaming this all week. Without the all 22 out, we've had fans all week on different platforms say wide receivers were open all game. Shout out to Chris Sims. I'm about to read his tweet, right? I'm about to read his tweet. Check this out. On paper, it might have looked like the 49ers D shut down the Dolphins. Oh, definitely not the case. Walked away thinking
Walk away thinking what?
Do it, got him, bro.
Yeah, 2-9 got it. Hey, I want to welcome in Miss Pamela and Shake Money that just came in the building. How you guys doing?
What's going to happen if we lose against the Chargers?
How are you?
Congratulations on the
Pan.
show, Lewis.
Oh,
I
I'm back.
appreciate you, Miss Pam. I appreciate you. Well, and again, hold on because we're kind of going off basis, and I know we're going to keep this thing going. We're going to talk about playoff scenarios and things like that. But again, I still want to pose a question.
I'd like to answer the question.
Well, there you go. I'm going to throw it to my brother from another mother, Crypto, because again, Crypto walked me off the ledge. Am I wrong with my assessment that Tua Tagovailoa can't win the big game? Am I wrong, Crypto?
Yes.
Well, listen, it's a partial thing, but I was going to say this: as far as regular season, the analysis was you could win games that not necessarily matter as much, but they matter in totality. But when it comes down to late in the season and when things in crunch time, that's when it really, really matters. You're not saying the earlier games don't matter, but these is where you make it when things are made when the December, January games. So
Appreciate
he
you,
has
Kane.
to approve that. But
which is a really big part of his
I was
evaluation.
going to channel. I was going to channel my inner Alex and say, Tua's the best quarterback that ever put on the Dolphins uniform. There's no argument with that. But I couldn't channel my inner Alex and get away with it. But that's neither here nor there. But but as far as the whole analysis of who's coming up, the Chargers and all these other games, yeah, they're pretty much big games. Every single game coming up, but one's more important than the other as far as his vision. Everybody's just glossing over the Patriots game and the Jets game late in the season. Those teams are playing for something too, so those are going to be big games as well. You're going to have to win in New England and Foxborough, and you're going to have to win in, at home against the Jets.
Hey,
So I've seen the
Hey,
scenario.
Lou.
like El
Hey,
Capitan, like El Capitan said, I haven't done a good job enough saying this. Hit the like and subscribe button, man.
Hit the like.
Help us out, help the channel grow, man. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate Cat for that.
hey, Lou.
Yeah, I was going to.
This is.
I was hold
Oh,
on,
go ahead,
hold on, hold on.
Crypto. Go ahead, Crypto.
Now I was going to say, there's also a grim scenario. If we do slip up and start overlooking too many teams, we could find ourselves in a scenario in which that Jet game is a win or get in scenario. It can mathematically happen where we can miss the playoffs by losing that game or make the playoffs by winning that game. So all these
I
teams
just
gonna
got
be
a
playing each other. and it's gonna
notification.
be
Mike
bunched up.
McDaniel is live.
So we gotta take one at a time because the Chargers have got something to play for next week, and every team on the schedule's got something to play for. Only team that ain't got nothing to play for is the Green Bay Packers when we play them, and they just gonna be in outright spoiler mode at that point. So that's the only team that we play that's left on the schedule. They ain't got nothing to play for. Every single team we play's got something to play for.
Exactly.
I appreciate
Very
it,
well
Crypto.
put, Crypto. Very well put too.
I also want to welcome Lance. Lance has been one of the guys that's been in here since we started or dropped the chat. So Lance, go ahead, man. The floor is yours. What's your thoughts?
Hey, Lance.
Hey, Miss Pam. I pretty much agree with you, Lewis. I mean, I've never been a Tua supporter, like most people. And that's partially because I can't stand Alabama. But
They suck, Alabama.
I hate Alabama. Either way, it doesn't matter. Dolphin now. So his Alabama year. But, I mean, he's shown a lot. He has improved immensely from his first year. Okay?
Absolutely.
But he still, to me, I agree, in big games, he folds. Every about 85 to he will fold. And he threw 3 interceptions. Remember when what game was that where he threw thrown 6 interceptions? What game was that? Or 5 interceptions? Almost
Tennessee
interceptions where he threw it.
Buffalo.
Oh, you
No.
talking about
It was
the
this
Steelers.
year.
You talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers game?
It was
the Pittsburgh
a few
Steelers game.
games. The Pittsburgh, the big
Buffalo
Steelers
game.
game where he threw almost 4 or 5 almost interceptions, and we got on here.
Steelers. Yeah, it was the Steelers.
Okay, yeah,
Sunday night.
and I came up. Well, a lot of people came up and said, look at all those almost. When you play against a real defense, that shit is going to matter. And what happened to us against the 49ers, you do that against a good defense, and they're going to smoke you. We lost because of those interceptions cost us the game.
But
there is no but. It cost us the game.
We won that game. We didn't.
One of those One of those interceptions was off Tyreek Hill's hands, even though it was a bad pass. Yes, and another one, our running back
make all the excuses. They were bad.
It's not an excuse.
So it's everyone's fault.
It's not an excuse.
Got it.
It's the facts. It's the facts. It's not an excuse.
So when
if Tua would have thrown the ball correctly,
the Tyreek Hill pass was way behind them.
I said it was a bad pass.
Hold on.
I said it was a bad pass.
It wasn't on Tyreek.
But it hit his hand.
if Tua would have thrown the ball correctly to him, he wouldn't have missed it.
Yeah, and if
It
Tyreek
was out of
never would
his
have touched the
reach.
ball, it would have. Tyreek never touches the
No,
ball,
no,
and that
it's
would have got
Tyreek's
picked
fault.
either.
It's Tyreek's fault.
It's not Tyreek's fault,
It's
but I'm
not
saying
Tyreek's fault.
Oh, that's
it's
tuning.
it's just a bad pass. But
Okay,
what I'm
so
saying is, if Tyreek never touches the ball, it doesn't get picked off. If Wilson doesn't slip, I'm not saying it doesn't
So
get
you
picked
don't want
off,
so you don't
but
want him to go try to
no,
catch it?
that's not what I'm saying at all. It was a bad pass. Listen to what I'm
Okay,
saying. It
so
was
it's
a
on
bad.
Tua.
Don't ignore the fact that I'm blaming Tua. It was a bad pass. I'm agreeing with you. But
Oh, okay.
we're going off the dropped interceptions. Those were give me interceptions. It was a tip ball into the air. Give me interception. It was a receiver that slipped. Give me
Wait,
interception.
wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Do I have the honor and the privilege of the homie EM just stepped in the building? What's good, EM?
What is good, fellas, gentlemen? Lou,
What's good, EM?
salute,
You've been
salute, salute. What's
EM. You've
good?
What's
been
up,
missing
EM?
in action. EM 2.0 is missing in action. What's up?
Here you go, crypto. Really? What's good? What's good, fellas? Salute to the panel, man. Hey,
What's
always
up?
Tanner.
respect, Lou.
What's
Hey,
happening,
man, I hear
Mr.
you.
EM?
I see how you moving, homie. And hey, nothing but respect to you, bro. You already know that.
Well, EM, I would love to have your opinion on this, but I do want to recognize one of the women in our community, Miss Pam. She told me I was wrong when she came up here with my assessment. So, Miss Pam, you got the floor, and then we'll hear EM. So go ahead, Miss
okay,
Pam.
thank you, Lewis. So yeah, don't forget about Shake Money.
Oh, Shake Money. I see Shake Money. So we'll go Pamela, Shake Money, and then EM. My
Okay.
fault, Shake.
So I absolutely think that this game, every game we have is a big game, just because of the competitiveness of the AFC.
Respect that.
We need this game. So it's a big game. This is not some flake team. It's not only just an NFL team, it's a decent NFL team. So I do believe that Tua can win the big game. And I want to point out something. So when we played Baltimore, everybody, is all up on Baltimore. They're bad to the bone, blah, blah, blah. And we get down by, I don't remember how many points, a lot. And we come back. That was a big win, right? So the fact that Baltimore has kind of imploded or stumbled or whatever they've done, it doesn't change the fact that that was a big game. It was a big win. The must-have against the Patriots, starting the game out, the season out, big win. The win against Buffalo, big win. And, so to say that he can't win the big games, it's not true. And really, one or two things work right for us last Sunday. We win that game too. Now,
No,
he was so
one
off.
thing. If one thing works for us, Miss Pam, and that one thing, where's number one on the field?
Yeah, no, I mean just one or two, a couple of plays. If a couple of plays work for us, we win the game. And 100%, I told y'all starting the week out that epic fail, we shouldn't have lost that game. And I put 60+% onto it. I blame him. But he's going to come back. We're going to win this game. It's not going to be like we have to worry about beating the Jets at the end of the season. It's not going to be that. But I also, I want to say something, Lewis, and I'm sorry I'm doing this on your show, but it's because of what I see in the comment section. So Michael K has been running this narrative the past few weeks that I'm alcoholic. Are you drinking again? Can't make sense through the bottom of a wine bottle, blah, blah, blah. So today I called him out on it, and he kind of got called out on it in Miss Finn's show. And so here he is. Now he's clueless drunk in the comment section. That's his screen name or whatever you want to call it now. Michael K., like I said before, I have family members that are alcoholics, and they cause our family a ton of pain. And there are alcoholics in this fan base who don't appreciate you saying that kind of crap, dude. You need to get over yourself. Sorry,
Pam,
Lewis.
don't pay mind to him. Don't pay mind to him. He's stuck in snow. He wish he had a bottle right now. That's why he's pissed off.
Yeah, he's a complete ass.
Yeah, Miss
But
Pam, don't worry about none of that, Miss Pam. Again, we know what you stand for in this community. We all love and respect you. And again, that Michael K is just a troll, man. Everybody wants to get on Pete for his troll takes. That guy's just a troll. Don't worry about none of that.
It always happens
That
when
was
we
a
try to
great
get
take,
into a
Pam.
situation with the quarterback. Everybody calls each other drug addicts. Everybody calls each other alcoholics. Everybody calls each other haters. Like, people don't like the fact when pushback is given when it's supposed to be given. I don't know how other players are supposed to get better if we don't criticize them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't let this game think, oh, it's not a big
nothing
deal.
wrong with that.
Well,
Nothing wrong with that.
it's a huge deal that we didn't win this game. And for people to think it's not a big deal, need to wake the hell up.
Of course it was a big deal. I think, like I said, every game is a big deal. There is no gimme game for us. We have to win every game. We have to do more than other teams to get less respect. That's just it's our team. It's the way it's been for years. But I believe in this team. I believe we're going to go either 5-0 or at very least 4-1. I believe in Tua. He's going to turn it around.
I believe in the team. And again, I'm not going to say that I don't believe in Tua because, again, he's played very well this season. And you got to commend him for that. But the guy that I seen in San Francisco on Sunday afternoon, I'm sorry. That guy looked like a guy that was shook. He just looked scared on the field. He looked like when he was sitting, again, by himself with his hat on the sideline, there was I didn't see none of the dancing. I didn't see none of the special handshakes. I didn't see none of the happy-go-lucky. I seen concern. And a guy that didn't want to be on that field. And again, to be a franchise guy, that was concerning. That is a major concern.
Hey, Lewis, you think it was because Armstead wasn't on the field? He didn't feel secured?
No.
I don't know. 100%. I don't know what it is. But okay, right there, Lance, and Rashad said 100%. See, in my opinion, then you're not a franchise guy. How can you? And so when Terran Armstead plays, we can almost guarantee a loss. Then is that what we're saying?
I don't
plenty
care.
of time.
No, wait.
We don't need to be in that situation where we need one guy to win.
When everybody was saying that with Tua, all we need is Tua.
Let me answer your question, Lewis. I don't care if Armstead is on the field versus that front seven. I'm nervous, period, point. But I don't care what quarterback it is. You see they're doing it to every single quarterback they play. It's
Rashad,
just not
our
Tua.
front seven. Rashad, I would argue.
D-O-line didn't play bad Sunday.
I didn't say they did.
I
didn't say.
I
didn't say. I didn't
Lance,
say they. Our O-line didn't hold up. I'm saying I would be scared as a quarterback. That's it.
Okay, let me ask you a question then, Rashad. Why did Mr. Irrelevant against our defensive front that, in my opinion, played better than what the 49ers played? Because, again, if we're talking about one person, Nick Bosa, okay, he had, 3 sacks? Bro, our defense had 4. We were getting after a Mr. Irrelevant. Why didn't he look shaken? Why didn't he look broken?
Because it was a great game plan. They seen we were running man to man, and we had.
I bet they played more snaps with the.
Come on, hold on, wait. Let's not act like
that was the same Shanahan that y'all was crapping on prior to the game. That guy.
I'm wondering. Hey, did they give the
finally giving Shanahan credit for a game plan? Is that what we doing?
Does 40? I got a question. Does anybody know if they give
Shanahan? Please let me know.
Do they
talk crazy about
Shanahan to the backups?
Oh, a lot of people were saying that he only needed McDaniel in order to be functional. Everybody was putting that narrative out there.
Let me see.
They were saying it was all McDaniel. It was the reason why he was functional.
Let me just say this because, again, go ahead, Lance. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You think they give more reps to their backups?
I don't.
No,
I know we don't.
I don't even think
I don't know.
We don't.
Come on.
Because he looked good.
Listen, the guy I'm going to bring up now to ask to speak is a guy that I really do respect in this community, but I'm sure he's going to have some pushback for me. So go ahead, EM. The floor is yours.
Wait, did Shake go? Where's Shake?
Yes. No, Shake fell out.
He had to leave. Okay,
I
sorry.
don't know. The homie Shake left? Oh, okay. Pushback. Okay, let me start with first and foremost, I don't think you're wrong with your with your initial question about Tua. Can he win the big game? And I think I was one of the first ones in the community last year that initiated this conversation surrounding Tua in the quote unquote big game. I mean, I even went back to, when we were at, his Alabama days. I think there's enough of a sample size right now to where the conversations need to be initiated with Tua in terms of him on the stage being the guy. You know what I mean? In terms of propelling and elevating his team to victory when, the stakes are at the highest, in my opinion. Going back to Alabama, going back to 2020, win or get in scenarios, multiple, going back to 2021, multiple get in scenarios. He's come up short. And again, this is not an indictment on Tua's long-term projection. This is just a sample size. This is the documentation that has been given to us, given Tua as a Miami Dolphin. And Sunday, I felt like, first and foremost, I want to say Tua. I disagree with you as far as Tua looking shook Sunday. I don't think he looked shook. And I think he, for whatever reason, they would know this better than me. His timing, rhythm, placement, his clock was not where it needed to be for whatever reason. I don't know why, because you can't blame the O-line Sunday. You can't blame, for the most part, you can't blame the receivers. You can't blame the coaching, in my opinion, because when you look at the film, the presentation Mike McDaniel gave Tua was there. It's just Tua was off in this game, and I think he was the primary reason why we didn't win. However, the difference in this game, in contrast with the multiple Buffalo games in previous years, the Tennessee game, the Jets game, et cetera, Tua, I felt like in those scenarios, he looked confused. He looked unsure of himself on where to distribute the football. I can't say that on Sunday. Tua, in my opinion, especially in the first half, it kind of tailored off in the second half, but I felt like Tua, he looked in command. He looked where he had an understanding of, based off what the coverage is presenting him, he knew where to go with the football. The execution was just off, in my opinion. Now, fast forward to Sunday with the Chargers. In my opinion, this is a must-win game for our playoff implication, with playoff implications, as well as this is a statement game from Tua. We all know the Herbert and Tua narrative that's been played out right before us ever since they were both drafted in 2020. So for my personal opinion, Tua specifically, if he is the guy, if he's motivated, if he wants to be great, and he wants to eliminate the uncertainty that's surrounding him, right? His first 2 years, and to a much lesser degree this year, but there is still some people have different opinions about his long-term projection. These type of games like here that Tua needs to he needs to put his fingerprint on and just absolutely get a stranglehold on this game and just clearly cement himself as the guy.
So guys,
now,
can
Sunday
I
is not the end-all be-all for Tua, but it will go a long way to eliminate that narrative. I'm hearing a lot of feedback. I don't know who that is.
I wanted to jump off at EM too, because that.
I don't see who it is either.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
I think he's
Sounds like
everybody mute yourself for a second. Hey, I just want. Hello. It's still going. Hold on.
It sounds like someone has the YouTube open.
It is
there
Pete.
you go.
So either case, so what I've done here is I've pulled up the advanced stats for each of Tua's games this year, and what the ones that that are showing on this list right here are the six games where Tua was under at least 20% pressure or more. Okay, and so it totals 6 games where he was under 20% pressure or more. The highest being the New England Patriots at 41.7%. And this is kind of why earlier in the season I was giving Tua quite a bit of credit for us winning those games, despite only putting 13 points up on the board. I told everybody that the New England's defense was better than people think, and as well as, to further Crypto's point earlier, they have the number 2 ranked defense in the league right now. So if you're talking about a big game, what constitutes a big game, you could have a big game, you can have an important game, you can have a game of measure, and you can have a big game with a tough opponent. And those are two different things. And also situationally in a certain circumstance. So now the New England game, if all things are similar and they're playing for a playoff spot too, now
That's
all of a sudden that game, because they have the number 2 ranked defense, becomes a big game, because we saw last week what our quarterback does against the number 1 rated defense in the league. However, he has been able to overcome that. Now, was New England the number 2 rated defense in the league back in week 1? That's for everybody to decide themselves. But here it is right here. The other loss we suffered was 20% by Cincinnati, but of course we know we only played how much of that game he played. You can see some of the games where you could argue we struggled some in, maybe not, but Buffalo obviously 31.6% still overcame it. Some would argue with the help of our weather, I don't know. Again, that being said, this is why I really am discouraged about going into Buffalo after 2 games out west, because we can barely compete with them when we're not a half step behind them. And if you've never experienced that kind of travel, I mean, I don't know. The guys will be a half step slow. That doesn't mean we can't still pull it out some way. But the other note I wanted to make was that it's more of a scheduling note. We're in a situation now where the Buffalo is playing the Jets at 1:00 on Sunday. Obviously, everybody thinks that's a cakewalk for the Bills, but the Jets are still playing for a spot. They're only 7-5. You know what I mean? It's a division game. They've already beat them. So the weather's not any. It's New York is New York, other than the hostile crowd. All I know is that by 8:00 when we play, we're going to know whether the stakes have been relaxed in that San Diego game. But I would argue, same with last week, we now have to still look at that as a big game, because that puts us back on the table for the top seed if Kansas City falters again. So I just wanted to put all that out there. Depends on where you're at in your own head with this team and how much you expect out of it, whether you expect Super Bowl or whether you expect playoff game tailgate party. You're probably going to be pretty happy if you're just going for playoff tailgate party, because we're probably going to win enough games to lock that in.
Well, and I think, Colored, like, you made some really good points, and you can't discount, like you said, the travel. That is huge, but I feel like there's things that they can do to make up for that to some degree. And of course, coming back to their own time zone. I mean, if you've ever traveled, across time zones, it is tough. But I feel like the first game against Buffalo, but the first game against Buffalo, I feel like that was, us coming out of the gate basically as a new team. And I feel like to this date, we still have not seen a complete game by the complete team, but I know it's coming.
Well, that was also our home defense, Pam. And this is why it's so frustrating for me, the loss this week, because everybody thinks, oh, no big deal. Everybody has a chance once you get to the dance. But I mean, the split between our home and away defense is so large. We have to have that top seed to expect anything more than just one playoff tailgate party. That's all I really, that's really what it comes down to, in my opinion. I don't think that's crapping on the team or anything. I'll be just as happy. I think we're doing great. We still, it's one game. I just don't need to be reminded that it's only one game over and over again, because there's a lot we could have captured last week that is really off the table for us now, unless we're hoping the Jets pull it out against Buffalo.
Why does it?
The other thing I want to say is, if I pull you out for a second to jump in and say something, no offense, It's just because we're full right now and the backstage is full. So no offense, Cap for life. I'll get you back in right away, bud.
I have to leave to pick up grandkids here in just a few minutes anyway, so
Pete's got
somebody
back.
can have my spot. But I just wanted to say, Color, that I think that it's a real point. I
Pete,
don't believe in the. I don't
That's
know
me.
who's got the echo. Yes. So I don't believe in that. It's just a one game thing. I hate that because I feel like when you show up so poorly, you take a step backwards. You know, like we should be moving forwards every single game. But it's going to happen. It's not like, it's not like we're not going to have a game like that. Every team has a game like that. So we have to move on from here. But this is a big game. But I want to point out that if Tua comes out and balls out and has a great game, you know what everybody's going to say? Well, it was San Diego. It was the Chargers. So what? Big deal. You can't take the wins where he has taken the control of the game. All he can do is beat the team that's on the field. So we have to stop with this wide view and focus where he has done good. Call him out when he has done bad. And I straight out called him out this week because, man, did he stink. But if he comes out and balls out and wins the game, we need to go, okay, that's the tool we want. That's the one. He won the game. That's
saying. What we've been saying this whole season. And see that for me, and again, we'll continue the conversation, but for me, that's what's the most concerning about what I seen Sunday. Because again, we're coming off a 5-game winning streak. We're coming off a stretch.
I don't want no bipolar quarterback in December, man. I don't need the bipolar.
Listen, Cap. What we're saying, what Tua Tagovailoa was coming off a high, and basically in his NFL career, he's never played like this. And to EM's point, it wasn't that he was missing the reads or not seeing the field right. It was the fact that, bro, he was just playing horrible.
He was 100%.
He looked like, this game was eerily similar to that Clemson National Championship game in 2019 to me. He just looked, I think he was a little, I know some people don't think he just looked nervy to me. That's what he looked like. Rushing game. Rushing his mechanics, rushing his, his delivery. He just was, he just looked nervy to me. He looked exactly like he looked in that Clemson National Championship game. And again, it's what it is. I'm not one of the ones, Lou, we talked after the game for 3-4 hours, me, you, Martin, TD, as well as others. And I'm not willing to abandon, the Tua Tagovailoa experiment by any stretch of the imagination. I think, again, we are in the grand scheme of things, as far as Tua specifically, Tua has shown growth. He's shown a lot of growth this year, in my opinion. He just, again, he's still a third-year player. He's still a third-year player after all. And I know people will say, "Oh, it sounds like no." I don't make no excuses for nobody.
Yeah, that sounds like that's all excuses.
Don't interrupt me, Pete.
That's
I'm talking.
All excuses.
I'm talking.
That is all excuses.
I'm talking. So at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, when you look into a lot of the question marks that we had him prior to 2022, Tua has checked a lot of those boxes. Now, if this continues to be a narrative with him, coming up smaller when the stakes are the highest, well, again, he's going to have to develop out of that. And again, I know the Dolphins, if he doesn't, well, then we will always have this. We will continue to have this conversation of uncertainty surrounding Tua in different aspects of his game. But at the end of the day, Tua has shown a lot of growth this year, and that's progress. And at the end, that's all you really can ask for a player. That's all you can ask from a player, not just Tua, but any player. No player is a finished product in their third year compared to 10 years.
But no player on the league right now hurts their team more than what Tua's hurting our team.
Oh,
and that's just a fact. That is just a fact. He doesn't even help us with mobility. He doesn't even run the ball.
Rolling, Pete. before you get rolling, I want to say congratulations to the Fins Tailgate for taking in such a great guy for a show. Lewis, congratulations on your show. It's obviously already popular. I'm going to share it in my Dolphin fan group on Facebook. And thanks for the opportunity. And hey, go Fins, everybody.
I
Hey,
was wondering
I
Pam.
why Lewis
appreciate it,
wasn't
Yeah.
Miss
in here.
Pamela.
Pam.
I
Big hug.
appreciate it.
Jeez.
Appreciate it,
Big
Pam.
hug.
Big hug. Yeah.
I can.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. And also, I would agree. I would concur with Pam. We got 72 people watching right now. That is freaking awesome. Appreciate all those who are listening on Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter as well. We got 2 people that threw a like at us at Facebook. Come on over and give us a like on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube if you don't mind. We're trying to grow here. Head back to your
100%.
favorite platforms if you like to continue to watch. We appreciate it. But that being said, 74 people watch and we got 50 likes. There's 24 people that don't use their right hand blinker. So get on it, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Tell Lewis you want him to keep putting his extra time and effort into doing what he's doing right now. And I appreciate you for doing it, Lewis. So I'll get back.
I appreciate you.
What's good, bro?
The only reason I'm able to get on is because I'm waiting in
What's
line.
good?
Hey, Lewis, I wanted to pop in, say hi, congratulate you on a great show and color for thanking you for having Lewis onto your channel.
I appreciate it, Mark. Thank you for the kind words, man.
Lou,
Enjoying your takes today and everything. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say, go ahead, homie.
No, I said I'm enjoying your takes
That's
today,
okay.
and I just wanted to pop in on the Tua issue. And I don't know if Tua's like, you classify him as a choker and everything. And I think Tua's more like about a top 12 to 15 guy that he beats the teams he's going to beat. I don't think he's elite, and I think that he could be a continual playoff quarterback. I just don't know if he's going to be a quarterback that can take the Dolphins to the Super Bowl.
Tough five.
It's
I
call.
mean, nobody knows the answer to that. Nobody knows that or will have that answer until he actually does it. And I mean, at the end of the day, but my point is for the people that are on the side of the fence that, okay, well, Tua didn't look his best Sunday. Okay, we want to move off and draft, trade another whole draft to move up and draft one of those top guys coming out next year. That's absolutely ridiculous.
I need you to say that with some more enthusiasm, as if you was arguing. To these idiots,
that's absolutely ridiculous, bro.
idiots
absolutely ridiculous.
Guys,
no, we made our bed.
No one want to trade away a draft at this time.
We have no more capital. We made our bed. We're stuck with this window for 2 years, whether you like it or not. So we're going to have this conversation for another year and a half, whether you like it or not.
And that's fine to have the conversation. But my thing is, if you have the opinion of uncertainty in some aspects of Tua's game, that's fine. It's healthy to have that debate and conversation and initiate those conversations. But at the end of the day, if you have uncertainty, if you're uncertain, but at least acknowledge the growth that we've seen from Tua this year as well. If you're going to be objective, that's what's so fucking ridiculous about this goddamn fan base, bro. Either you're extreme and either side of the fence.
Hold on.
And there's no logic involved in that. It's all opinion. It's all people in their feelings.
Today, boy.
Their opinions. Too many people in this community let their feelings influence the evaluation of Tua. Contrast that, and you should be using a tape. And y'all know I've been saying this shit since we drafted Tua.
100%.
It only took 12 weeks for y'all to jump off the boat for one game.
But hold on, despite 70% completion games, EM, I was calling out inaccurate ball throws on completion.
Don't nobody
now
care
that
what
they
you
show
calling
up
out,
on the
Pete.
paper, now that they show up, now people want to complain. Hey, this is the issue. Tua's best game that everybody calls out that he's the most accurate quarterback, that's all he has. He's not even that accurate. He doesn't carry no elite trait. He's not worth a top 5 overall pick. It is over. And
What are
one
we
thing
gonna do
that
about that now,
actually,
Pete?
and
How do we
one thing
address
that
that
we
now?
actually
need to
holds.
do.
Wait, hold
Yeah.
on,
He's already
hold
been
on. One
drafted.
thing that actually,
He's
one
already
thing
been
that
drafted.
actually hold on,
It's
He's
because
ridiculous.
already
you're
been
over here.
drafted.
Oh,
What do
he's
you do about it
progressing.
now?
Okay,
Pete, you're
it doesn't.
wrong.
You move
Pete,
on.
you
You
are
move
wrong.
on.
Well,
See
You
what I
How
don't
do you
mean?
hold,
hold on,
take
hold
Pete.
the
Hey, that's
team
the
back.
nonsense
You
how do
I'm
you
move
talking
take
on.
about.
a
That's the
fact?
Hey,
nonsense
How do
I'm
you take
talking about.
a
hold on, real
fact
quick.
and
Hold on,
say
Pete.
it's
Hold on,
wrong?
Pete. Hold on, Rashad. Hold on, real quick. Let me try to help Pete out, right? Just let me throw this guy at you guys, and you tell me if I'm right on this, right? All off season, all we heard with this McDaniel offense, and even out this man's mouth himself, was about yak yardage. We're gonna be the
Yak,
most
yak,
yak
yak.
team in the. Okay, yak. That's all we heard, Rashad, right? Well, to
Yep.
Pete's point, maybe we don't. Again, look at the numbers. We're kind of on the bottom end of yak yards. Maybe that is because Tua's not putting. I mean, again, we always come. He's accurate. He's this, and which I would agree with. He tends to be accurate. But bro, even not take this game out
Please let me
specifically. There
respond to
are
that.
a lot of times where either the receivers have to slow down, they have to jump, they have to
Lou,
go to the floor to catch.
It's
I'm just
been on
saying.
Lou,
film
Wait,
all
wait,
I'm
wait.
year,
just.
Lewis.
I'm just
hang on,
saying.
All
hang
year,
on,
Can I
Lewis.
respond?
hang
Can
on,
I
hang on, hang
respond?
I
on,
think
hang on,
everybody is
hang on,
looking at
Lou,
it.
Can I
Lou,
Ain't
respond?
nobody
Lou,
hanging on.
hang on, Lou.
Can
What's
I
good, Em? What's
respond?
good, Em?
Lou, at the
Please.
end of the day, bro, first off, no quarterback is perfect. Every quarterback has deficiencies, bro. These are just the
And
facts. So if
boy,
you are again, Tua's clearly not a perfect
boy.
prospect. That don't exist. So we know his flaws, right? The responsibility of every coach should have to have a level of awareness of what their quarterback, just players, what they can't, what their strengths and what their weaknesses are. And Tua, does he have the biggest arm? No. Does he have a tendency to try to be too perfect with his throws, which in particular downfield, I think, which contributes a lot
EM, you sound like,
to.
bro, when you don't
Can I
have it,
finish
you
my
move
point?
on.
Can I please
You
finish my
making
point?
excuses for this
Can
man.
I
Why didn't the
no? Can I
Titans
please
hold on
make?
to
Can I
Mariota?
finish my point? Can I please finish
The
my
guy
point?
is you're making
So,
excuses
so,
for a limited player to
so,
live on
so he's
with this
giving you.
team to live
Can
on with a limited player. Like,
Hold on,
oh,
Pete. Hold on,
because
Pete.
he was we don't owe him
Let,
nothing.
you
hold
see
on,
why
Pete. Let
I
him finish.
said you
Let him
see
finish,
why
Pete.
you shouldn't let people like this up on these panels. This is ridiculous. So if you get rid of Tua, and again, again, document what he has been this year. You've seen growth. Now, the areas that he's grown at that position, if you want to get rid of him, we all know how difficult it is to find a quote unquote just a competent quarterback, let alone franchise, right? And Tua is showing growth in a lot of areas
Bro.
that a lot of quarterbacks in this league completely flame out, fall on the face, i.e. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold's of the world.
Joe
So if you're going to
Flacco
get
will
rid
be having an
so
MVP
Hold
career
on,
right
Pete.
now under this
Hey,
offense.
hold
Joe
on, Pete.
Pete,
Flacco.
Hold on, Pete.
let you
man, this dude,
let Ian finish
Hey,
so I
no,
can
man, this guy,
go.
hey,
bro.
hold on, real quick, because I do want to give Shake Money the floor. He hopped out earlier and he hopped back in, and I do want to
Take
recognize
money.
Ian Baller for coming in. So we'll go to Shake Money and then Ian
I was
Baller.
gonna
But go
let
ahead,
y'all
Shake.
have it, boy.
I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you, man. You know me. I'm not one of those people to yell over people, so I appreciate it.
I got you.
No, the only thing I want to say is that I didn't consider this a big game.
Yeah, but
It
I'm
was a
one of
big
those
stage.
people.
Hold
Okay,
on,
I'm
Pete.
only speaking for myself. Don't speak for. I'm not speaking for you, bro. So relax. I ain't speak over you, so don't fucking speak over me, cojones. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't see it as a big game. It was a big stage because of the coaches. Because if it would have been Arizona and Miami, nobody really would have cared. But the only thing about this loss that sucks is our margin of error got smaller. That's the only thing that sucks. It wasn't make or break, but it did make the error of margin a lot smaller and made more games down the line bigger than they needed to be. You know what I mean? So, but as
I
far as
got you.
big games, I don't. At the end of the day, man, John Elway was 0-3 in Super Bowls, and he finally won 2 at the end. You know what I mean? They said the coach of Kansas City couldn't win the big game. They said Dallas couldn't win the big games. So at the end of the day, man,
big games, small games, it doesn't matter. You know, it's like you said, it's a team thing. I think that Tua can win the big games if he has the right circumstances. But that's pretty much how I
see,
feel.
you see, Shake, and you make a
one
great
last thing,
point.
one last thing
Go
I
ahead,
want to
Shake.
say real quick. One last thing I want to say is one of the reasons why he struggled is that when you have San Francisco that was constant, that was good at disguising coverages, he was second guessing himself because he was seeing one look, and then all of a sudden, after when he snapped the ball, he was seeing a different look. And the defenses that we were playing did disguise their coverages as good as San Francisco did. So now he's second guessing himself because he doesn't know what look. Just because he sees one pre-snap doesn't mean it's going to be the same look post-snap. So, you know what I mean? It was confusing him. That's why I think he was throwing those passes because that defense was really confusing him. But
and you make a great point, and that's all fine and good. But again, like, not to throw his name out there, but me and EM have had personal conversations, and we kind of talked about this. Like, in my opinion, I understand the linebackers were kind of dropping back and getting more depth, but the opportunities were still there. And again, when I come out and I say something about a throw here and a throw there, people always use that argument against me. Oh, well, you're nitpicking. Bro, this game, it was all game. It was like when I get fed a narrative coming into the game, you're playing the number one defense, the 49ers, all this and all. Bro, there was plenty opportunity. And again, right? He's in a conversation as a MVP with the likes of Patrick Mahomes. He's in the conversation with Jalen Hurts, right? Look at Jalen Hurts. Look what he's doing in Philadelphia. Got them to the number one record in the NFL. Bro, Patrick Mahomes lit up this defense, the 49ers defense, and put 44 on them. Threw for 400 plus. And when I look at Tua and I see a stat line that says 295, ask EM. I told him this personally. There's no doubt in my mind Tua left 150 to almost 200 yards on the field. We could have been looking at.
There's no
again,
there's no pushback.
That's
I
what my
won't say it
problem
was
is. Like,
all
we're coming
game,
out.
Lewis. I say it was off and on.
Rashad, the man played a horrible game for 4 quarters. Period. That's it, man.
He played a horrible game. He played a horrible game, but I wouldn't say he was off all game.
But at the end of the day, listen, Lewis. You got to remember one thing. You got to remember where Patrick Mahomes is at with his career versus where Tua is with his career, and you got to remember
shake money. I get it. Shake money.
And then hold on, one last thing, and I'll let you cook. And you got to remember too, Andy Reid. If you compare Andy Reid and Mike McDaniel's as far as play calling and play designs, they're night and day, bro. I know McDaniel's is an so-called quote unquote offensive genius, but he ain't shit compared to fucking Andy Reid.
He's coming into his own. You're right.
100%.
Andy Reid Big Red is next level.
I mean, I would agree with that. Andy Reid is a Hall of Fame coach, but as far as Sunday is concerned, no, the presentation was there for his quarterback. No,
100%.
You can't put that game on Mike McDaniels. No, absolutely
Tua
not.
had plenty of opportunity.
He had time to survey the field. He had time to diagnose what the defense is showing him. And he had time to make the appropriate, distribution of the football.
But here's the thing. Can I say
Mike McDaniel was baby coddling the quarterback by saying it was his fault that he messed up that play. So
Can I jump back into something before we get too far off subject?
No, real quick. I want to know real quick because if McDaniel is apologizing, I want to know what's he apologizing for because we just needed 1 yard. So who's blaming who for what? Are we baby coddling or covering up?
I'm talking about in general, overall. When you evaluate the complete body of work on Sunday, I'm not just talking about situationally. I'm not saying it was perfect, but when I'm talking about the presentation for his quarterback in terms of guys being open, the scheme, the timing, and all of that was there for his quarterback. He just needed more consistency in the execution department, and we're having a different conversation right now.
EM's 100% right, but can I jump back into where Pete and Lewis were talking about accuracy and all that? A lot of these passes, we're not seeing that he's dropping them into zones where if he leaves this receiver, he gets his head ripped off. Some of those passes on Sunday, like the one to Sheffield on the sideline, was where it was supposed to be. It just got punched out. The one to Gesicki was great coverage. Like, this defense is good. Like, everything isn't as clear as we look at the numbers, it should have been more. Yes,
I
true.
looked at the
Cool.
Rashad, I want to
problem
give
with that.
Rashad.
Everybody's
defense was
acknowledging it
making
now.
Rashad, I
that
respect
defense
what
It
was
was
you're
like
making
saying,
saying,
but
plays.
hold
oh,
on,
the
hold on, hold on.
49ers ain't
I
played
respect what
nobody.
you're
We
saying,
going into
Rashad,
this
but I
I'm
did
talking
game.
about
look at
all season with the
I did
accuracy,
look at the
not
all
just Sunday.
22 on that play, on that Gesicki drop play. I looked at the all 22,
He shouldn't have
and
went to Gesicki, I
Tua
would say.
was never going anywhere else. That was a one
Yeah,
read
yeah, yeah.
play. And if the play would have been allowed to
100%.
develop, if Tua had a clean pocket, if he even looks to his right for a second, he's got Jeff Wilson in the flat, all alone on the wide side of the field, totally alone, wide open. That could have gone for a touchdown.
He was going to
Yeah, he
Gesicki
clearly
100%.
predetermined his read on that
If
play.
you pay attention to the fourth quarter, Gesicki wasn't in there. Gesicki wasn't in there that much, and as soon as he went in, I'm like, this is odd.
Right.
Like
I'm just
he
pointing
grabbed his
out that
he
I had
grabbed
looked
his
at the all
helmet.
22 on that play, and it's like
Like-
Jeff Wilson was absolutely alone on the wide
Just-
side of the field.
Just watch
But
watch
you
the
know
play
what?
over. He grabs his helmet. He's in a clean white jersey, and it just looks odd. It just stands out. He's
And-
like, okay, I'm
and-
going in.
And with all that being said, how bad Tua played, how good the 49ers defense is,
still
the
in
team, et cetera, et cetera, we
out to
still
the
were in a
right.
position on that drive to
You're right,
take the
Ian.
lead
You're
and win
right.
the game.
You're right.
On multiple drives. It was a 6-point game with 14 minutes to go.
Yeah, the fans were
1000%.
scared. The fans were like,
So,
"We
no,
got
it's
to
not
get a
time to hit
field
the
goal.
panic button.
We have
Not time to
to
hit
get
the
a
panic.
field goal because we're not confident right now. With
Oh,
2 minutes
panic
left,
button is hit.
we're
Get
still
ready.
not
The
confident.
next two are drops.
And I would
We're
much,
losing
and
the
again,
next
I'm
two.
not excusing Tua at all, his play on the field Sunday at all, but I would much rather it happen last Sunday as
Versus the
opposed to
Niners,
happen
yeah.
in the playoffs or 2-3 weeks from now. You know what I mean? So hopefully,
it happens
again,
3 weeks from now.
hopefully,
That's a
hopefully he
problem.
can learn and ultimately respond from this. But he can't lose Sunday. He can't
Can
lose
anyone
Sunday.
can anyone
Sunday is
remind
not
me?
an option.
Yeah,
can't
yes,
lose
remind
Kane.
me
Sunday.
Yeah.
real
I
quick?
just
Can
not an
anyone
option.
I
remind
do
me
want to
real quick?
recognize that Kane's.
Actually, Green Bay is not an option either.
I'm going to give you the floor, Cap. I just want to say that Kane's is correct. Von Miller has been ruled out for the remainder of the season, having season-ending surgery with a torn ACL. So,
Also, they back to
wanted to
last
throw
year's
that out there.
Bills then, basically. He's a grifter
No, but
anyways.
real quick, man. Can
Carpetbagger.
anybody remind me how many games kept us out of the playoffs last year? Real quick.
Wasn't
I'll
it
wait.
one? One.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So
Back
to
to back,
think that
back
this
to back
game
years.
didn't count. So to think that this game didn't count when we've been already screwed twice with Josh Allen and Ryan Tannehill, you really think that this game doesn't matter? You're fooling yourself. In December, you're fooling yourself.
1,000%. 1,000%, Cap.
You can't lose Sunday. Tua, the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, not just Tua, but Mike McDaniels as well. You cannot lose Sunday. You can't. That's not an option. Sunday needs to be. We definitely need that win because if you lose Sunday, all of a sudden you're going into Buffalo in inclement weather more than likely. We all know how Tua and the Dolphins in general have played in Buffalo this time of year on a 2-game losing
So would you
streak.
then say it's a big game, but not a big opponent, basically? Like
I think
there's
it's a bit.
between
Well, I
a
think
big. Well, real quick,
Absolutely.
Ian, real quick, as far as the poll question goes, like, is there a difference between a big game and a big opponent? Let's say.
Well, I think it's a big game specifically for Tua. Personally, this is the legacy game for Tua potentially.
Well, then sometimes you run into a perfect storm where you got a big game and a big opponent, which was what I would say last week was.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think last week was a legacy game for Tua as well. I think that was a perfect time for Tua to clearly not completely eliminate, but submit himself a little more in the franchise quarterback level conversation.
You said it great.
And that's what I wanted to say. And that's what I wanted to say to Shake Money's point. Because when I brought up Patrick Mahomes lighting up the 49ers, Shake Money said, well, look at where Tua's in his development to where Patrick Mahomes is. See, number one is Patrick Mahomes, the day one since he stepped on the field, he was that dude. And number two, again, if we're just talking about this season, Tua Tagovailoa, to his credit, has put himself in that kind of situation or in that situation with the likes of Patrick Mahomes. He's the one. It's not me. I'm not the one that said, Tua's playing at an MVP.
Category.
His play. So, again, if you're going to give me MVP performances for the past 5 weeks, and we're talking about, man, Tua is in a groove. Bro, again, for me, what I seen on Sunday, that was very disappointing. Bro, again, I know Ian would disagree with me, and I've heard a couple people that said he just looked shook, in my opinion. Bro, there was no happy-go-lucky. There was no rah-rah. There was no
It's not surprising.
Look, even when the mic thought with Tua, when Tua's sitting there on the sideline in a big win or a big lead, I would say, and he's joking around with Coach McDaniel. Where was that? Because every time I looked on the screen and they had Coach McDaniel on the field, it looked like concern on his face. Every time I see Tua Tagovailoa, it concern, a look of not wanting to be there. That's what it looked like.
Well, this is what I just think, in regards to his, the look on his face, his body language, et cetera, et cetera. I just think, again, Tua, everybody knew what the stakes were at hand on Sunday. If you win that game as a team, not just Tua's legacy, but as a team, you get a stranglehold in the AFC. So I think 100%. in terms of Tua's body language, and I just think he could have just been more dialed in, because bro, that was a high stakes game Sunday. And I just think he was just locked mentally. Again, nobody, bro, when the stakes are higher, nobody wants to be playing and joking around on the sideline and all that food. No, you need to be dialed in mentally, bro. You need to be as serious as you can possibly be. And again, you don't want anything to take away from the focus. So playing the Texas and being happy-go-lucky on the sideline, joking around and all that kind of, and playing the 49ers with the AFC potentially on the line, that's different. No, I don't want to hear nothing about no playing and happy-go-lucky when all of that is at our fingertips. So I think Sunday, in regards to his body language, and again, the execution was not there, but I think in regards to Tua's specifically his body language, I think he was just trying to get as dialed in as possible. And again, this business, bro, this ain't playtime is over. And again, you might see in terms of his body language, as fans, we might see more of what we saw from Tua on Sunday for the rest of the year, because playtime is over, bro. Playtime is over.
So wait. He says playtime is over. Hold on. So y'all up here talking about Tua is playing at an MVP level, and he's put himself in these considerations based on his play. But now that other season is over, now it's real. Now it gets real. So now is what matters, right?
I think we all know. I think the competent people have an understanding of. We all know when, as you get further along in the season. Hang on.
Isn't that what I have been saying?
We all know as we get further along in the season, right, with playoff implications on the line, right, the stakes go up because everybody's trying to get to, everybody has the same goal. You're trying to get to the postseason. So later in the year, especially if you have a legitimate chance and you're in the conversation, the playoff seeding conversation, absolutely the games get better, bigger, more important as the season goes on.
Right on, Ian. Right on. Real quick, guys. Yes. Kevin Lee has always been a great supporter of the channel. I wanted to put up his comment here. The only difference, win or lose, last Sunday is the 1 seed. That's it. The division will come down to next week versus Buffalo, so it's the same either way, win or lose. And I totally respect you, Kevin Lee, in your comment there. The only thing I would say that strikes me as so important about it is, I think that even if we win 2 in a row out west, even if we would have, I just think that the cards are so stacked against us going into Buffalo, even without being flexed into an earlier day. Mm-hmm. The cards are so stacked against us based on how often a team gets destroyed. Even good teams get destroyed when they have to travel cross country like that, much less after 2 big games out there. You know what I mean? Then going into Buffalo, you're talking about a team that is, it's the reverse. They are one of the best teams in the league at home, weather permitting, and it's like, I just never really saw that as a win for us in the first place. Not to crap on my team or nothing. It's just for any team to do that. It's because the conditions are going to cause our players, all 53 up and down the roster, to be a half step behind. And I just believe that even at 100%, it's a slobber knocker against Buffalo. So that's why that first, because we could end up we could have found ourselves with last week, yes, with the top seed, we still would have been competing with Kansas City, so it wouldn't have been a given. However, winning last week and then winning this week would have put us in a situation where we literally could have went and showed our ass to Buffalo and not worried win or lose. You know, and still
That's
won
a very
the
good point, Color.
You know what I mean? That's
We never
really
get
what it is.
cushion.
It's about
Right.
who's throttling
Gave us a
who.
cushion.
It's about who's throttling who. You know what I mean? And another thing is, if let's say we do pull, first of all, there's 2 points here that are totally have nothing to do with each other. First point is, God, given the stakes now in Buffalo, if Tua pulls that off, man, that's another chance for him, like EM's talking about as far as a legacy game. Hey, you know, you never know. But that aside, let's say we do win the game next week. You know, it would have put us in a position to you know, not have to play them in the playoffs, because they have a lot more chance of getting knocked out before we would have faced them. And secondly, it would have been in our house. And the thing of it is that they, you know, there's another thing in operation is, let's say we beat them. Let's say we sweep them this year. And then we have to face them in the playoffs. Well, that's fine too, but look at the statistics. I mean, it's not just the Dolphins versus Bills. It is very rare that a team beats three teams in one three times in one season. It's just very rare.
Yeah, 100%. And I just wanted to address CB83's comment in the chat, right? He was locked in trying to figure it out. You could say he looked, it left. You could say he looked shook, but he came back and made big throws. This man Lewis is tripping. See, this is where I disagree, right? Because everybody's going to try to feed me this narrative. Well, I think he was trying to lock in. And that could be true, right? I'm going to give you my opinion. What? So you're trying to tell me he wasn't locked in against Cleveland? Are you trying to tell me he wasn't locked in against the Houston Texans? Are you trying to tell me he wasn't locked in on this 3-game stretch? Remember when he was 9 touchdowns, no interceptions, passer rating out of this world, and he was locked in for those moments too, and he was still having fun. He was still sugarcoating everything and slapping big offensive linemen in the asses. He was still doing dances on the problem. The problem is that now that he looked like dog water, now he was trying to lock in. That's why he looked like a fucking spoiled little kid. I'm not talking.
I'm sorry, Luke. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, because again, when I hear comments like he was locked in, what was he locked into? Playing like absolute trash? That was the only thing I seen on Sunday.
We talked about this Sunday, Lou, after the game, bro. You know, we had this debate Sunday. You know, I tend to disagree with you on that in terms of his body language. Again, I think it was, you know, we can argue as to why Tua was not, you know, he didn't have his best game. But one of the things we talked about Sunday, I think, again, that defense, that overall team speed of that defense, I mean, we can all agree that's the best defense hands down in the National Football League on all three, you know, on all three levels. And again, when you face a defense collectively like that, and as fast a defense as they have, right, in particular on that second level, it takes a while. And again, I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying what contributed to, you know, the lack of consistency from Tua on Sunday. And we talked about this after the game. I said, I think, you know, it's one thing to see it on film, but it's a whole completely different thing to actually line up against that defense. And again, Tua has to play better against better teams, better defenses. This is not an excuse, but what I'm talking about in terms of your point about his body language, again, bro, San Francisco's one of the better, you know, it's considered a Super Bowl caliber team. Again, when you play better competition, when the stakes are higher than when you play Cleveland, when you play the Texans and those teams earlier in the year, right? It's human nature that you have a tendency to be more loose and
so
be
you
more.
say he's more happy-go-lucky against teams that he don't revere?
Well, I mean, that Tua ain't the only one that does that. Every quarterback does that. When you go
I'm
back
just
and look
saying.
at the play, go
That's
back
just
and
the
look at
question I
go
posed.
back and look in historically when Tom Brady is playing the ball. And I'm not even talking about in the postseason. I'm talking about regular season. When that man will be out there playing the Colts, a game similar like this with major playoff implications at stake, and when the Patriots will play the Ravens, when the Patriots will play the Colts, or a legitimate rival, right? A legitimate threat to the Patriots. Playoff seeding potentially. Look at how dialed in and how
You
quiet
said
and
Tom Brady
subdued Tom
wouldn't
Brady
be
looks.
giddy. He'd
And
be
again,
fired
I'm
up
not
on the
saying Tua,
sideline
and I'm
though,
not
EM.
hang on, Crypto, hang on. I'm not trying to put Tua in a conversation of Tom Brady by no stretch, because you know how this conversation is going to be twisted. My point is, in terms of the lack of demonstration of playful, run around laughing and joke. No, bro, it's business. And again, was a playoff atmosphere. This was a playoff game, in my opinion. And again, I could be wrong. Tua could have been shook. He could have been. I don't think he was shook. And again, I highlighted.
Lewis,
Hold on,
Lewis,
Cutter, please.
oh,
So earlier you said the
go
same
ahead,
thing,
Pete.
and I
I'll
did
give
want
you
to
a second,
respond.
Pete. But
Because
I just wanted to say,
we
Lewis, after
literally just
Pete's
heard
done,
the same thing twice by EM, and I was trying to debate that earlier.
you sound like you're in the bathroom, Pete.
Pete, we
Yeah,
can't
you
hear
do,
you.
Pete.
Sound like you in the
I
shower.
sound better now?
A little bit.
A little bit, but not really.
Flush the
Probably
toilet and get out of there, bro.
But the only thing I wanted to say, hopefully you can hear me, and I'm gonna back out
There
and
you
fix
go.
this. The only thing I wanted to say was, if you're sitting here saying that Tua's mental clock, you said this earlier, his mental clock looks off. And I agree with that. That to me tells me there's a quarterback on the field that's not feeling the game. He's playing scared, and it leads to frantic and everything that Lewis finished saying. It's his body language. You've seen it all. And you disagree with it and then point out mental clock, which was off as well. That's what's baffling to me, Ian.
Okay, so real
Lewis
quick
said.
before you respond, EM, and
All
if
right,
you
go ahead,
don't
go ahead.
mind, Lewis, I wanted to read this tweet from Chris Sims and get the panel's opinion on it.
And I agree with that 100%.
I wanted to read
by
it
the way.
for those. I wanted to read it for those who are just listening, and then get y'all's opinion on it after
do your
EM
thing, Color.
finished.
Yeah.
So Chris Sims tweeted, on paper, it might have looked like the 49ers defense shut down the Dolphins offense. Definitely not the case. Walked away thinking better of the Dolphins than I had before. Mike McDaniel had guys wide open all day. Haven't seen San Francisco defense exposed like that in a long time. Now, his first reply to his own tweet says, it wasn't pressure. Niners really didn't get into his face a ton within the normal flow of the game. He just missed a lot of throws that he's been hitting all year. If these teams played again, Dolphins would feel good about a rematch.
100%.
I agree 1,000%.
100%.
That's all I'm saying. That's all
I
I'm
told my
trying to
brothers
say.
that. I told my brothers that.
That's the tweet I was trying to read earlier on the show. That was the one.
No,
Well,
but
I agree.
to address Lewis,
he's basically saying that for whatever reason, it might not have been even being a big game. It might have just been for whatever reason, Tua was missing throws. Like, I don't know.
But to address again, to address what Pete just said about my disagreement with Lou, I'm not saying Lou. I disagree of the term shook. Tua, Lewis thinks he didn't want to be. He said he didn't want to be there. He just looked completely discombobulated. I disagree with that. I think Tua, again, to me, the definition of shook is obviously nerves, but confused, unsure of themselves, don't know where to go with the football, right? Hanging on the ball too long. We didn't see any of that for the most part for Tua on Sunday. The plays were there to be made.
Real quick. You can keep going. But you said holding on to the ball too long. You said holding on to the ball too long. Now, do you see maybe getting rid of the ball too quick being a problem as well sometimes?
That as well.
Okay. Go ahead. Take off.
So again, we didn't see. I'm sure at times he would hold on to the ball or whatever than he should have over the course of a 60-minute ball game. But in terms of when you evaluate all 60 minutes, you didn't see that to a great degree. Again, Tua was seeing the field the way he needed to see it, in my opinion. The execution was just off, and it happens in this league.
Ian, one of the things I've given him credit for all year long is how much more relaxed he's looked, not just pre-snap, but actually during the play. And I didn't see that this week. He looked rushed. He looked, hampered in some way. I don't know. I don't think 3 sacks really did it. Other than that, they didn't get a lot of pressure.
I agree, Feller, I agree.
Relative to what he's experienced in other games that he's won. I don't know. I think there could be something said where, well, maybe McDaniel was getting guys open for him, but is it the right type of open for him? Because there's been something McDaniel could have done play calling wise to get him more in a comfort zone.
I've never seen Tua throw so many incomplete passes in a row consecutively, at least this year. So incomplete. His first and second series was horrible.
Yeah, to be devil's advocate on that tweet against Sims, I know he knows better than this. He played football before. Even when you beat somebody in a win, you think you can do better than what you did that you may have gotten away with. We don't think that the 49ers in a hypothetical rematch would think that, oh, shit, we got away with that. We're going to tighten up on it this time because we're not going to try to pull that crap off like we did before, in which we got away with. So both teams still look at the film and decide what they can do better, even when you beat a team.
Can I say something? I agree with that. But I do want to say something that's really big. I think Mike McDaniel earned his stripes yesterday on Sunday as a head coach, even after a loss. I truly believe this guy stamped his name as the Miami Dolphins head coach after what he displayed and showed on the field as a head coach, calling plays and getting guys in the right situation. This was a head coach that was supposed to shut this guy out. He knew him. They have better head coach, better defensive head coach. They have better trench work on both sides of the ball. And Mike McDaniel found a way to exploit all that and avoid their strength versus our weakness. The only thing is the Samoan sniper just brought the wrong scope that Sunday. That's really all that happened. And as a fan base, we were sitting here screaming before Chris Sims said that. We were up here saying, guys were wide open. This was not, we lost this game. And that's what happened. And that's fair, why Pete. It hurts.
That's fair. That's a fair statement to make.
You know what hurt? And you know what hurts the most about it? If Tua would have nailed this game exactly how I feel about Mike McDaniel, I probably would have been shifting over to Tua. But the only thing
it was a capture faith game for me, man.
Yeah,
100%. And you know what it is?
That doesn't mean there's not going to be more going ahead. It's not like he's going anywhere. You know,
but the only thing that's
he's baked in another chance for himself against Buffalo, because if he pulls holy shit.
You know what, Color?
I mean?
You know what, Color? Not everybody's 160 pounds soaking wet right now, and not everybody believes 55 degrees is cold. But I'm gonna tell you what, to me, 55 degrees is cold, and these are little things that might not be big to others, but look what stays in my head. You understand? So the ball had to have some effect in that cold weather.
Yeah,
of course, there's always colder and there's always hotter, right?
You know what it is for me? I'm sorry, Luz. I was going to say the thing of it is for me about Buffalo is I was so convinced under our best conditions that we were going to lose that game anyway, that I don't foresee a situation where Tua can really be blamed for a loss in that game. So we're really not going to get that chance again until a playoff game.
See right here.
That may be true, Color.
You know what I mean?
We got the Tony Romo effect.
And you see that, Color, and my problem with I don't even want to hear playoff right now.
Well, hold on, Pete. Look, CB80's key 3 comment. That's what pissed me off more than anything. Might be the Super Bowl matchup if the 49ers can figure out the quarterback situation. Again, let me just say it so people can understand. I'm really not trying to shit on Tua Tagovailoa, because I think the kid has been playing well, and everything that all the praise that he's been getting the past 4 or 5 weeks, he is well deserved. But bro, there's no way you're a franchise guy. You're one of those guys. You're a top 5 pick in the NFL, and you let Mr. Irrelevant come in here and beat you. And again, the
I
narrative
would
is gonna
agree. I would
the
agree.
defense. They're gonna say the defense let up, bro. Like, what are we talking about here? The man threw for 200 yards. He played the whole game. It wasn't like he lit us up and threw for 354 touchdowns and just, bro, the man threw for 200 yards, a bunch of quick passes and dump off passes. Okay, maybe we could have done a better job. But again, if you're the
Their
franchise
fullbacks
guy,
and running backs is what kills us.
if you're that guy that you mean to tell me, again, I'll ask the panel this. He's in a conversation with Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. Ask yourself this: when Jimmy Garoppolo left the game, everybody, I guarantee you, everybody in this panel thought game was over. Number one. And this is the second part of that question. If Jalen Hurts was our quarterback Sunday, or if Patrick Mahomes was our quarterback Sunday, do we lose that game to Mr. Irrelevant?
Patrick Mahomes, no. Well, no. If we had Pat Mahomes, no, we could, because we just beat the team 3 weeks ago. Jalen Hurts, however,
right.
I mean, I can't definitively say that. I mean, you know, I can't definitively say
You know what would have helped? You know what would have helped EM Jalen Hurts in this game though? Because I think it was Kenna that brought it up in the chat. I wish I could find it. It was probably a couple minutes ago. His mobility. And Kenna said that Tua Tagovailoa maybe in this game could have had easily between 40 to 50 yards rushing. Bro, if Jalen Hurts sees all the green grass, if Jalen Hurts sees all this green grass that Tua Tagovailoa was seeing on Sunday, I guarantee you he's putting up the rushing numbers.
Boys, how special and how special was the 49ers defense then?
The coach won't even let him.
So all this talk that everything the 49ers did to stop Tua, it's almost incorrect and excuses to me because they didn't do nothing special, bro.
I agree.
Why is
with that,
every Dolphin panel saying this? It's getting, bro. It's
but they do have good defense, though. You can't discredit them totally.
Based on numbers, right?
Yeah. I mean, they do got to go out there and put a
Sunday.
they do have to go out there and make an occasional
But what we saw on Sunday, if Tua executed, did they look like they had a good defense, number 1 rated defense? Or are we that good that makes number 1 defenses look bad? It was just our bad game.
I agree.
It was just a bad game by Tua. Who's disputing? Nobody's disputing in there that Tua is the reason why we lost on Sunday. Who said otherwise? Nobody said
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I mean, if we get better execution, if Tua, we get better execution from Tua, we clearly win that game.
Turnovers is kind of
and another thing, I never hear anybody talking
a fumble
about.
for a touchdown is a defensive credit.
But look at the throws. Look at I mean, again, you know, they are turnovers and they are terrible. Tua has to make better. You know, his overall process needs to be better. But look at the 2 throws that they picked off. Tua, one of them, he's throwing to Jeff Wilson, right? Out, he's on an angle. I think he's coming out of the backfield, right? Jeff Wilson is not looking for the football. Tua one of the few times Sunday, Tua had pressure in his face. Tua threw the football. He's not even looking for it. A, and then B falls down. They tip the ball up, pick it off, interception. The second interception he made to Tyreek Hill. That was just an overthrow. That was, again, the decision was there.
No, the first the first.
No, hang on.
Bad at it.
Hang on. The decision. Tua throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill in that situation, that was the play to make. Tyreek Hill had separation. He had green grass in front of him. The ball was just too high. He tipped it up. It gets picked off. So, again, the decisions that Tua made in those 2 particular scenarios, the decision-making was there. The execution was off. It's not like Tua was just throwing in the triple coverage, right? Like we've seen him do a lot 2020, 2021. He just looked unsure of what he was seeing and just throwing the ball up, it appeared. We didn't see that on Sunday. So, again, that's what I'm saying. Y'all can have, you can have your opinions, and that's fine. I'm not killing anybody for having, a difference of opinion. But at the end of the day, you got to keep it in perspective and you got to keep it objective. Tua, again, those 2 interceptions, any turnover is bad, but I've seen a lot worse from Tua.
Yeah, as far as his decision making, yeah. Even though they did rate him as the lowest rating ever that he's gotten.
Well,
Hey
yeah,
guys,
that's what turnovers do.
yeah.
Turnovers absolutely kill quarterbacks' ratings. Any turnover, they don't factor in why do I'm not gonna say nobody
What the
does that,
QBR does, this decision
but
making, yeah.
well, yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, again, like I said, man, I think we need again now. And if it's similar to what we seen last week, if that transpires on Sunday, okay, well then have at it. Well then the critique definitely needs to go up a notch or two. But as of Sunday, no, I think we need to pump the brakes on that and just wait and see. Let's wait. Let's publicly document it like we're doing right now, highlighting the things that we didn't like from Tua on Sunday, and keep it pushing till Sunday. Now, if it happens again, well, the floodgates are going to open. So that's why Sunday is a
Yeah.
must win game.
He's got a lot of games to redeem himself.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I do want to welcome the two newest guys that got in was Mark and Angry Dolphin, aka Mr. Park. So I'm gonna give Mr. Park the floor, and then Mark, if you want to go after that. But
Yes,
welcome,
sir.
Mr. Park.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Park.
Hey, how's it going, Lewis, Crypto, EM Dolphin? I haven't seen you in a while, EM Dolphin. Mountain fans, Rashad,
salute,
and Mark,
Mr.
Bills
Park.
Mafia. How's everybody doing?
Doing great. Thank you for asking.
Good, Mr. Park, man. Appreciate you coming through, man.
Oh, well,
Another day in paradise.
My thing is, like I said, I don't like to put a label on Tua, but I'm hoping that we're not looking at, and I mentioned this on another platform, a Tony Romo type syndrome with Tua, because this game coming up is going to me, it's going to be, even though we are playing the Chargers and they're not at their best. This game is to me is very important that we win this game. It's very important because if we lose this game, I mean, my concern is not just with Tua, but the identity of our team, because we're up. We're up at one, with a couple games, then all of a sudden we slide all the way down. And I know it happens. It's no such thing as it. Well, I can't say it's no such thing as a perfect team, because we had the perfect season, but we don't really have an identity in the NFL, and we got to turn that around. We have to turn that around. Like I said, no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say this, Mr. Park. I want to make sure I'm hearing you right. Are you talking about like an identity as far as like the league or what the league thinks of the Miami Dolphins, or the identity of the team this year? Because in my opinion, I think we know this team specifically this year. I think we know our identity. Coach McDaniel, we are an offensive-minded football team, number one, and Coach McDaniel and this offense, bro, we are a pass-first team. I know everybody thinks that we're going to be one of these teams that's going to get it going and average 115, 120 yards a game. I don't think we're built like that. I think, certain situations you might see a Jeff Wilson Jr. get 75 to 80 yards, maybe most are chip in another 35, 40. But that, to me, that's more the anomaly. I think Coach McDaniel has a vision for this team specifically with the weapons of Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. You're starting to see Trent Sherfield in the mix. We're just a pass-first team. I think the mindset is we are going to throw. It doesn't matter if it's against the number one defense in the 49ers or the 32nd ranked defense in the Detroit Lions. It doesn't really fucking matter. We're going to come at you from a pass perspective, and I think that's what our identity is. And with that being said, I think that get us in the ass on Sunday. Coach McDaniel could have probably did a better job, but again, if I'm Coach McDaniel and I've seen what I've seen from Tua Tagovailoa the past 4 or 5 weeks, bro, my mindset is I'm going to let my MVP candidate go out here and lead this football team. And I hear this narrative, well, when he was off, Coach McDaniel should have did a better job. Yeah, okay, I get it. But maybe he was calling pass plays because that's another way to work things off. I'm not going to – if Tua's struggling, why should I have to turn around and say, you know what, I'm going to concede this game. I'm going to play the 49ers game plan. I'm going to run the ball. Fuck that. Tua, here you go. This play's open. I'm going to run it again. Now I need you to hit it. You're going to work it out that way. Give them more reps at it. So, again, to your point, Mr. Park, identity. I don't know if you're talking about NFL wide or this season, but for me, this season, we are a pass first team, and that's how we are going to attack, or that's how we are going to attack defenses by the intermediate to deep passing game, in my opinion.
But with that being said, I still think that this game is very crucial that we win this game, regardless
100%.
of playing the Chargers, and they're not playing good right now. We still need to win this game and continue to move move forward if we want to make it to the playoffs or even to the Super Bowl.
Good point.
I will say this with McDaniel, and we talked about this, Luke, after the game. And I've said this since the start of the season. It might be, in terms of McDaniel, what I want to see from him moving forward, especially, it's going to have, not necessarily, because I think Tua can play well without. We've seen enough from him this year. He can play well enough without, the support of a run game, right? But in terms for the team overall to have success, he has to come up and establish some form, some semblance of a run game to complement, to complement the passing game, because this was a prime example in this game. Well, you saw those linebackers getting extra, depth in their drops, which shrinks a lot of that, which shrinks a lot of those windows for Tua. And we all know Tua is he is feasting off that intermediate level, the second level of the field. And if you don't have a threat of the run game to where defenses have to, play closer to the line of scrimmage, which widens those windows in that area of the field, you're going to see this. Teams are going to see, again, this is on tape now. So if you're not running the football, and if you're just completely abandoned and you're completely one-dimensional offensively, well, this is a blueprint. San Francisco just gave you a blueprint on how to throw off the overall timing, rhythm of not only the offense, but Tua Tagovailoa as well. You're making things much more difficult for him. And that internal clock, speeding up that internal clock. So the rest of the league is watching. They saw that game on Sunday as well. So Mike McDaniel, moving forward, he's going to have to, even if you're not getting 4 or 5 yards per carry, there needs to be more of a commitment, I think, to offset what you do, to complement what you do, in the passing game. So, because that's going to benefit us overall in terms of the team success that we all, that we all want this year. Right. If you don't, you're going to see a game similar like what we saw on Sunday, and it's going to make it much more difficult for Tua to do that. And again, Tua is a player, again, and these are just the facts. He's not the dynamic athlete to where if you don't have the run game to go with it, he can consistently get out and go off script and make plays with his legs, which would cause a defense to commit more, to play closer to the line of scrimmage, right? In fear of the mobile quarterback, who don't have that dimension in his game. So moving forward, McDaniel, man, you got a big, tough task to come up with to complement what you have. If he does that, I think we can beat any team in the league. But if you don't, unfortunately, similar to what we saw Sunday, we could possibly be running into a similar type scenario, especially once the postseason happens.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
I want to piggyback on
EM, just to kind of piggyback off of that, like you were saying, which was crucial in Tua's surveying of the field by how Fred Warner and all the linebacking core was, how they made their drops. Now, I want to make as a reference, like last year. This is why Waddle looked damn near unstoppable last year. He's got over 1,000 yards, over 100 catches last year. The guy's running option routes the whole game. See, this is where I fault somewhat Tyreek and Waddle and all the other pass catchers. Dude, when you get defenses like that are kind of undiabolical, you have to run option routes. You have to. It's like playing basketball. You gotta go where they're not. It's like you know they're gonna drop. They're gonna do their deeper drops. But you run underneath that. You break off the play route and run the option route, the secondary, the third, fourth option route.
And just like what Ian mentioned a little bit before, we got to stop being one-dimensional, and then also too, and I think that we have the right coach, Coach McDaniel, You have to be able to change up when you see the passing game or the running game is not working. Then you change it up. Don't just stick with the same routine where the team's got us figured out and they shut us down. And that goes for the defense as well. We have to change up when the scheme that we're employing is not working. We have to change up. Let's stop being the one dimensional, because I've been seeing that for years since the Don Shula's days. Our team being so one dimensional that when a team comes to our home, they already have the scheme to beat us. Or the same thing when we go on the road. So we have to break out this one dimensional stuff and be changeable. And don't wait for the game to end to say, okay, well, I should have changed up here and I should have changed up. Let's do it. And we have the right head coach to do that. So we just gotta get it going.
Well, yeah, but if we're just talking about the 49er game specifically, I'm gonna tell you guys this again. I've said it. The game plan I believe was right. The execution, to EM's point with 1-2 Tagovailoa, that was what's off. Like against the 49ers, if let's say we would have ran the ball 25 times, that's feeding into what the 49ers like to do. You're playing their kind of game. I think Coach McDaniel had a game plan to where, and especially when you got Mr. Irrelevant coming off the bench. Bro, if we would have had these chunk plays, these intermediate throws, the 25 to 20 to 25-yard gains that we've seen consistently open all game long, if you start converting on those, the drives keep going, the defense is not on the field. Because, again, time of possession was, 40 minutes to 19 minutes? I mean, if you start doing that and you're putting 7 points on the board, that also is going to force San Francisco to play a kind of game that they don't want to play in. The 49ers wanted to keep that score 17-14. 2017. That's the 49ers game. Bro, you would have came out early when, especially in the first half, when there was opportunities to put points on the board. Bro, Miami would have jumped up to a 17, let's say 3 lead, a 21-10 lead or something like that. Now you put the 49ers in an uncomfortable position with Mr. Irrelevant playing quarterback, and it would have just, again, I understand what you're saying. Moving forward, I would like to see the running game implemented again a little bit more. 8 carries for a whole game. We all know that's just ridiculous. But again, the mindset with this football team, and it's one that I've been crying for the past 2.5 or 3 years since Flores was here. I'm tired of scoring 7 points and then taking the foot off the gas, not trying to score and trying to win a game 16-13. I'm tired of those days. I believe we have an explosive offense like the 49ers, the Kansas City Chiefs, and we should be putting consistently 28 to 30 points on the board. I strongly believe that.
Lou, but nobody's saying run the ball 40 times a game and become the Tennessee Titans. Nobody's saying that.
Yeah, because I'm going to say Derrick Henry is not in that backfield, or Larry Zuck
nobody's saying that. What I'm saying is the point, and we talked about this Sunday after the game. I told you and TD this specifically. It's not by accident. Our biggest and greatest offensive output happened against Cleveland, and and I don't think it's by coincidence that we had complete balance in that game offensively. The threat of the run as well as explosive plays, and we had our best offensive output statistically all year. So nobody's saying become the Tennessee Titans and run the ball 35, 40 times. What I'm saying is it needs to be a complement, because the threat of, again, teams just can't sink and consistently congest that second level of the field, because, again, that's our bread and butter. That's our bread and butter. And you gotta have something to pose to the defense that they have to respect, which would cause them to play closer to the line of scrimmage. That's just a fact. And again, go back to the Cleveland game. That was our best game offensively we played all year. We had the threat of the run, the complement of the run and pass, and we scored almost hung up 40 on them. So no, again, I want to clear that up. I'm not saying become the Tennessee Titans, but again, you got to, if we want to get to where we need to be, we got to be two-dimensional offensively. Because come playoff time, we know the game slows down, right? The field condenses, and everything tightens up. So you got to be two-dimensional, bro, to get to where we want to be. Now, getting to the playoffs, and you know what? That's I think we can do
say
that.
this, Ian. I would say this though, because I'm the guy that coined the 60-40 phrase, because I thought we was at least a minimum 20 percentage points better passing team than we are a running team. That's how I got the differential. You could be effective still running the ball 40% of the time. You just have to be efficient at doing it. You can still win doing that with that kind of balance ratio. And as long as you if you're running the ball 4 times out of 10, if you're still getting almost 5 yards to carry to complement that 60%, you still could end up with a Cleveland-like game.
Absolutely, it's unrealistic to think that we're gonna line up an average. I think in that game we averaged like almost 6 yards a carry. I think that's unrealistic, but the commitment needs to be there. You need to go into every game, right? Every game as a play caller, some way, shape, or form. I'm getting 20 rushing attempts. 20. That should be, in my opinion, 18 to 20 needs to be the baseline, because again, that you're forcing teams to account for that. And if you're one-dimensional, that you're making it easier for the opposition. You're making it what they did Sunday. You played right into what's. And again, I know people are commenting in the chat saying, guys, well, yeah. Again, I agree. The presentation was there, but the execution was off. But again, for game plan wise, you played right into what San Francisco, what their strengths are. We just, what happened was that I think the O-line play overall shocked a lot of people. Shocked Mike McDaniel, shocked probably Tua, and shocked Kyle Shanahan as well. So, but you can't hang your hat on that. You can't hang your hat on that is what I'm saying.
Against Houston, they was a top 5 pass defense, and we threw the ball 32 times in the first half. We put up 30 points on them. It's 30-0. Nobody batted an eye and said we passed the ball too much.
I did. Lou, did I not? What did I say? Lou, tell the truth now. I know you might be in your feelings right now, but tell the truth. Lou, what did I say after that game?
When you go up 30-0, nobody's complaining. That's my point.
Lou, what did I say after the game in that Houston game?
But I get it. But
you've been one of the ones that's been.
I didn't say that. I was very disappointed in that Houston game. Very.
But I'm just saying, nobody batted an eye because we was up 30-0. Using that approach that's all I'm saying.
But let me bring back a little history. If you go back a little history and look at the in the Don Shula days, even with the perfect season, we had a balance. We had what you call the balanced offense, because you had running ball, you had Mercury Martin, Jim Kick, and Larry Zonka, and then you had the threat of Paul Warfield as a wide receiver, among others. So if you have that how you say, execution and that combination, then you, like I said, you're a dual threat to any defensive team that you play. You got a dual threat because they got to worry about the run and the passing. So we should kind of look. I know that back in the days things are different compared to today, but there's still a lesson to learn from the past, from our past teams, especially with the Don Shula days.
Yeah, balance is the key to success in this league. It always has been and always will be. That's just how the game is played. And again, I don't think we necessarily have to be top 10 in rushing, attempts and yardage and all of that for Tua to be successful. Because one thing, whatever your opinion of Tua is, he's played bad when he's had the run game, and he's played bad either way. But for the most part, when you evaluate his 3 years, because we ain't had a running game in 4 years, so the threat of the run has never been there under Brian Flores, and now under Mike McDaniels has never been there. But Tua, his baseline, he's been average to slightly above average without the threat of a run, and now he's giving you, a heightened level of play, and the threat of the run for the most part hadn't been there either. But in terms of the team success, which I'm mostly concerned about, I could give a flip about whether Tua make the Pro Bowl or not. I don't give a damn.
That's what to say, Ian. Maybe he's trying to help him in that aspect as well. Since he's already in MVP talks.
I felt like in that Cleveland game, I'm sorry, in that Houston game, there clearly was an agenda there. I think you throwing the ball 34 times and a half, bro. No, come on, there's clearly an agenda
numbers
there.
Had to be boosted to get him up.
And I was very disappointed in Mike McDaniel. And if that is the case, and I could be wrong in my assessment, but if that is true, I'm very disappointed in Mike McDaniel because he's more, to me, the message you're sending to the locker room is that you're more focused on Tua's MVP campaign or how you look as a coach for getting Tua to an MVP level, as opposed to the overall success, team success that should be, that should be the focus. And and again, I could be wrong, but if I'm not, if that was Mike McDaniel's number one on his agenda in that game, I came away very disappointed in that regard.
Okay, EM, before you go on anymore on that, let me interject. Daryl Stingley was out for the Titans, and he was their best defensive back, and I think that's predicated to the game plan.
34 times and a half, though.
If you have a team that's playing 8 in the box, which they were, and the fact that you have
34 times and a half.
Why would you run against an 8 in the box defense? I think the Dolphins did exactly what they were going to do, and it had very little to do, in my opinion, with Tua being MVP. I think McDaniel saw a weakness. He saw a weakness at a position.
34 times though, Mark? No,
yeah,
come on, man. I think that's a little excessive.
Okay, I've watched teams throw a bunch when they have a defined weakness. If they can't stop, what you do is you run a play until they stop you. If they don't stop you, don't stop running the play. Come on.
34 times, 34 times and a half, bro.
If I'm going to score every time I've got the ball, I'm going to march the ball down the field every time I've got the ball. Why would I not do that? If they're going to go 8 in the box, I'm going to force them to come out of 8 in the box. And when they go to 7 in the box, then I'm going to run the football. But if they're going to play 8 in the weakness, I'm going to go for it.
And see, in me personally, it's not just the throwing the ball 34 times and a half. I was thinking more so down, moving forward as the season, as we get further into the season, and ultimately the postseason, hopefully, whatever issues that you have that has contributed, to us being inept at consistently, establishing a run game, that to me was a game that you could have taken, right? You could have used to iron out those kinks, to establish more consistency up front. And again, I understand the matchup. This is a matchup league, and to some of what you're saying is valid, in my opinion. But 34 times, you cannot be that imbalanced, bro. Knowing me personally as a coach, I don't give a damn if they had 10 in the box. I'm still going to try to work out and figure out what is calling us to be this inept up front running the football. That's just me personally.
Well, I agree. This is not a good running football team. That's absolutely true. But I also think, let me just come from a Buffalo perspective for just a brief minute, and I apologize in advance for that. But Buffalo was a predominant passing team in 2021. They were all about the pass. They were basically, Josh Allen was the whole of the running game. They went to Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, and they got their flipping teeth kicked in. From that point forward, in Dayball's last year as offensive coordinator, and now in Dorsey's first year as offensive coordinator, they're trying to get much, much more of a run-to-throw balance, because they've come to the conclusion that if you are exclusively a passing team and you don't develop a running game, two things happen. One, you become very soft in the limited practices that they do have. You don't tackle enough. Your tackling is very poor when you're predominantly a passing team. What are the Dolphins? They're a primarily pass team. They're soft, and they can't tackle. They're a very poor tackling team, as I've seen throughout the year. You have to change it up. I agree with EM's point of view from the perspective of you have got to establish a running game. You've got to establish a physical presence. Whether or not it works on game day or not, it's going to help your It's going to help your tackling in practice. It's going to help your tackling on game day.
Absolutely, which is why I'm saying that you'll see the benefits of it. You'll be able to reap the benefits of it later in the year as we progress into the year and ultimately the postseason.
Yeah, my fear is that
100%.
the Dolphins don't make my fear is not that the Dolphins don't make the playoffs, because I think they will. I think they'll probably win Sunday, and they'll probably win 2 of the last 3. I don't believe they're going to win in Buffalo with all the scheduling, and I have offense against what they do with the schedule. Even as a Bills fan, I think it's offensive. But I think you end up at 12-5. I think you end up with a 5 seed, and then you get to go play Tennessee, because Tennessee is going to be the 4 seed. And as it stands right now, Miami has a much better team than Tennessee does across the board. The problem that I see is Derrick Henry and whatever else running back they're going to throw out there, because the Dolphins are not really practicing stopping the run. And they could get potentially run over in that game and lose a game that they should win. The Dolphins should go on to the divisional round of the playoffs, except for that factor that I'm concerned about right now. I'd like to know what your guys' thoughts are.
Well, I think the key. Well, first off, I think our run defense is fine. I just think we get caught up in situations where, look at the time of possession disparity Sunday. Now I know we have been. Now I know we have been. We haven't, in terms of consistently winning the time of possession, we haven't been one of those top teams all year, if I'm not mistaken. But again, we could offset the time of possession game, right, with chunk plays, with explosive plays, converting on those plays consistently. We've been benefited from that. But what happens when you don't? What happens when you don't and you can't, just like Sunday? And again, this is what I'm concerned about long term as far as the season is concerned, right? What happens when the big play is not there? It could be Tua being off. It could be how the defense is scheming us. Whatever the reason is, what happens when the threat, when the consistent, explosive plays are not there? We're not benefiting from that in game, in real time. Well, you got to have some.
EM, when the teams get better,
yeah,
and the linebacking improves as they're looking at now, you're not going to be playing the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans and the Detroit Lions, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to play teams with real linebacking cores in the AFC playoffs. You're going to deal with Tennessee and what they've got. Then, hypothetically, you're going to play Kansas City or Buffalo after that. And those teams have linebackers. And, I look at that September game against Buffalo, and Tua didn't do anything passing. He made one nice play to Waddle, which won them the game. And they really scored. They scored 21 points, but 14 were on drives, 7 were on a short drive because of an Allen fumble. So, and that was with Milano and Edmonds in the game, and that's without Buffalo having any kind of a secondary. Do you really think when you have Trey White and Kaiir Elam playing and Xavier Rhodes playing and Poyer playing and all these guys playing, minus Von Miller, who's out for the season, by the way, just to let you know, that they're going to have the same level of success, especially up in the cold in Buffalo?
That's why
Kansas City's linebackers.
That's why being complementary, being two-dimensional is paramount in those conditions once the postseason begins.
Yeah.
So again, it's all of this, throwing a ball, 50-yard bombs at Tyreek. That's all cute come the regular season. But again, we all know the NFL is really 3 seasons all encompassed in one. You got the preseason, you got the regular season, and you got the postseason, and they are dramatically different.
Well, literally,
right? We all know that. We've been watching football long enough.
Yeah, it is.
Before Thanksgiving and then Thanksgiving and then Thanksgiving on forward. So it's literally split into 2 portions in the regular season and then the playoffs. Yeah, so what's going to work? What works in September in Miami is not going to work in Kansas City in January. It's not.
Yeah, it'll be definitely tougher. It grinds down when it comes playoff time.
And I'll be honest with you, with this game Sunday coming up, the Chargers have an absolutely horrific run defense. This is the game. This is not a game for Tua to show out and do his thing. This is a game to get your dominant running game back in place. Get your confidence back as a team, knock them out of the box, run the ball for 150 yards. If Tua throws for 180 and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and you win, 30 to 17, who's going to be complaining?
That's perfect.
I'm not. I'm going to be. By the way, I'm going to be at the game.
That's complimentary football.
At the 15-yard
absolutely, absolutely.
Are we talking about the Buffalo game, or are you talking about Mark this weekend, this Sunday?
No, I'm talking about the Charger game. I live in San Diego, so I'm going up to the Charger game. I got 2 seats on the 15-yard line on the visitor side.
Okay, nice. Well, I would just say this, and I agree. Me personally, I wouldn't. But I'm going to let you know, Mark, and I think you would agree with this. The narrative is if we rush for 150 yards, Tua throws for 180 yards, 2 touches, that's not going to be everybody's going to be happy with the win, but we already know what's going to even in a loss, if Justin Herbert comes out and, let's say, lights up our defense, because everybody wants me to believe that Mr. Irrelevant lit up our defense. No. If Justin Herbert throws
that, I didn't see that at all.
Well, I've been.
He just played an efficient game. He didn't light us up.
I'm just saying. No. But wait a minute. I'm just saying that Tua Tagovailoa throws for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns, but Josh Herbert throws for 385 and let's say 3 touchdowns. there is going to be a conversation. Maybe not with us on this
Not
panel.
me.
And
Not me.
well,
Not me.
EM, you
Not
know
me.
that you know, EM, you know the Tua haters will come out of the woodworks if that happens.
I'm just saying, not
If that
again,
happens.
bro. I am trying to my objective this year. I've been saying it all year, bro. I want to be playing on wild card weekend. And again, if Tua comes out, I'm not in the. Again, we'll have that debate after the season. We'll again, the evaluation is still ongoing. And again, once the season is over with, we'll evaluate all the data and we'll have that conversation in. But for me, I don't give a damn if Tua come out and throw 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, but we win 32-13. Bro, I'm good. I'm good to go.
Yeah, I mean, if Herbert throws for 350 and 3 touchdowns, and the Dolphins win 33-24, I'm coming out smiling, saying, "Let's play it off in Buffalo the following Sunday for the division." But I think the team needs to get their confidence back. I think a team that's predicated on a passing team, and then they're going into like 28 degrees in snow, which is what it looks like the forecast is going to be in Buffalo on the night of the 17th. And if you think you're going to throw 50-yard bombs in that, you're not going to do it. So you need to establish
that would handicap us big
establish it
time
against a team that's weak against the run. Do it now. Get your team's
Well,
confidence up.
I don't need to throw 50-yard bombs in Buffalo, but I do need to throw 15 to 20 yard intermediate throws in Buffalo.
With the same linebacker combination that San Francisco did and Buffalo already did to you once with all their full secondary back.
Well, listen, when we played you guys the first time in Miami, we only had the ball, I think, 6 possessions. We scored 4 out of the 6.
No, he scored 3 out of the 6.
Or 3 out of the 6. But again,
one was on a short field.
Well, I agree. One was on the short field. It was at the 2-yard line. I do agree with that. But Tua's talking about
wasn't. They had no secondary.
Well, again, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. The way Tua, that's what my concern is. Was in the San Francisco game. I expect no less from Tua. Again, this is the left-hand armor god. This is the Samoan sniper. This is a guy that was coming off a 5-game stretch that we haven't seen from Tua before. We've never seen it. So again, when I hear you say confidence, Mark, okay, I would agree. The confidence is shaken for the football team. But I guess the question would be, where did it go? Bro, we're coming off a 5-game winning streak. Tua was balling. The first play of the game was like a 10-yard in cut that Trent Sherfield takes 75 yards to the house, and we're leading that game 7-0. What the fuck happened? Like how did we win 5 games in a row? Tua execute on the first play of the game, and then our confidence goes down. It wasn't like on the first drive.
I'm gonna say, and it may not be the full validation, but who did you play in those 5 games? You played 5 of the worst defensive football teams in the league. So Tua's got confidence rocking, but he's playing the Lions, he's playing the Bears, he's playing, playing the.
Hang on, you shitting on that same Lions team. He played better in his game than what Josh Allen played in his. You shitting on that same Lions team now.
Good point.
Well, I know the Lions were coming off of that 29 when the Lions played the Dolphins and lost that close game. They were coming off the Dallas loss, and they were just getting DeAndre Swift back, and they were just getting St. Brown back. So the Lions, in that losing streak that they had, were a team that was suffering with injuries, and they got shut out by the Patriots, if you remember, the week before that. So the Lions team is not a bad team. As a matter of fact, I think they're going to beat Minnesota this Sunday, and they're tracking possibly towards a playoff spot. So the Lions are better. But, yeah, Allen had a horrible game against the Lions. It was absolutely horrific. He was terrible.
And I'm talking about against the defense. I'm not talking about offense. I'm talking about that defense.
No, I'm talking about the defense. Allen looked like absolute trash in that game.
Yeah, he was terrible in that game. He was terrible.
And, he blew the Minnesota game with the fumble and the interceptions and the other stuff. And the Jets game, they pissed down their leg on that game. They pissed down their leg in the Minnesota game, in games that they could have won and didn't. And we have to admit that Allen still had the elbow injury, and whether he has it now, I really don't know. But
that sounds like an excuse to me. That sounds like an excuse to me.
Because the Jets to me are no joke. The Jets are a serious football team.
That sounds like a freaking excuse to me.
What's that?
Mate, talk about he had still the same elbow injury. I don't want to hear none of that. He looked like garbage. You know, he looked like trash.
He did have the elbow injury, and he was wearing a sleeve.
We do have the better quarterback in the AFC East. We can all admit that. I think we have the better quarterback. The Dolphins do, right? We can all admit that, right?
I don't think historically we could admit that. I think this year it's competitive.
Oh man, I'm trolling right now. I'm trolling.
Okay, I think if you had a choice, to be honest with you, and I'm not trolling. I don't really think that the Bills would make an offer for Tua for Allen. So let's put it that way.
I don't know if Tua get his team to the Super Bowl, man.
Well, the Dolphins have to worry about getting into the playoffs or possibly winning the AFC East. That's their first concern.
But you know what, though, Mark? I'll say this in regards to you all when you compare our philosophy with Buffalo's. Obviously, fundamentally, they're different, but in terms of the approaches, right, being more pass heavy as opposed to being complimentary, y'all have run into that same issue the last 2 years, and y'all have tried to make a more conscious effort by to be more complimentary when you talk about the run pass ratio, but y'all just y'all revert back to the Josh Allen show, man, and I get
you know why Ian, because the offensive line stinks.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, y'all are a prime example as to why, y'all, your postseason success has a ceiling on it. It's because you're too one-dimensional offensively.
Whatever their scenario is, they can run the football, and it gets into the playoffs against the better teams, and Buffalo craps in their helmets.
So my biggest fear is I don't want to be the Buffalo Bills, bro. I don't. I want to be, I want to be in a position where we're truly in a position where we're maximizing, our approach, our philosophy, our personnel, et cetera, et cetera. And because again, I know what it takes to. I mean, we've all watched football long enough to know generally what it takes to win, to have postseason success.
Well, in my
gotta
opinion,
be two-dimensional, bro. You gotta be.
Get it. The Eagles totally get it. They can run the football
absolutely.
Long and,
that's a balanced team.
Absolutely. The Eagles might be the most complete team. I mean, they might be the most complete team philosophically and personnel-wise in the league, bro. They might be.
I totally agree.
Yeah, they're doing it on both sides, and they're doing it on offensively complementary football. Yeah.
This is where I feel that Chris Greer needs to make his next move. The next move the next series of moves the Dolphins make, in the offseason has got to be to make that team competitively balanced and to change the philosophical mindset of McDaniel to say we're going to run the ball 40 to 45% of the time.
Well, as far as
I agree.
As sitting as draft capital and where we're sitting as far as that kind of value goes, I don't see how we can make any significant moves without moving somebody like Christian Wilkins.
I think you can make one free agent move for a guard that's relatively at a good value, and your first round pick has to be an offensive tackle. It really needs to be a tackle.
Well, we don't have the first round.
we're done.
Yes, you do. You have.
We traded that for we traded that for Bradley
Chubb. Bradley Chubb.
Oh, that's right. I am so sorry.
Yeah, the Broncos got that. Broncos got our first pick.
So we're gonna have to trade Christian Wilkins or X or somebody.
Oh no! Not Christian.
Wilkins ain't
going nowhere.
No, Christian Wilkins untouchable.
Byron Jones at the end of the season. That's money. You're gonna get rid of Noah. You're gonna get rid of Rowe. So you got money coming. You could make moves in off season.
Well, that money that's coming. We got to spend that on.
Well, you don't necessarily have to go and dip into the free agency market. That's why you got the draft as well. And this would be
you got a second. You got just a second round pick. You have a second, third next year.
Third.
Yeah.
From the New England Parker pick trade.
It should be 3/3 after Gesicki leaves, because we should
no, because if you do free agency signings, remember the free agent compensation is not just losing a guy; it's what you give or what you lose against what you add. If you add nothing and lose Gesicki, you're probably going to get a third. But his production level is down, so it may not be a third anymore.
You're right about.
Hey, let me highlight this. Let me highlight this comment for a minute. Newfoundland. You said philosophical mindset of McDaniel. He comes from the run game. Well, okay, yeah, we all acknowledge that. We all understand that. But okay, well, where is the balance? Where's the balance that we saw consistently from San Francisco? Why is that not happening in Miami right now? I pose the question to you.
I
mean,
pose the answer. I think
It's
though
based on
because
personnel.
San Francisco
That's
doesn't
why.
have the thrust that Miami
Bingo.
has.
Which is
It's based on personnel. That's the difference.
Which is why I said in the beginning when you had all of these casual-minded individuals that were pumping the idea of, you know, the expectation is we're going to be exactly what San Francisco has been the last 5 years. I was like, bro, come on, man.
No, right. Yeah,
That's
exactly. I was trying
unrealistic.
to
That's
debunk
very
that from the
irresponsible
get-go.
to come to that conclusion, bro.
That was
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I just want everybody to know that was if we was going out with the same offensive line and the same running backs we had last, I don't care who was coaching, we wasn't gonna be a good running team. I don't know why people thought just because a coach came over it would make people.
They thought it was automatically going to translate.
You have people with platforms out here trying to sell that lemon to the Miami Dolphin community that we're going to have a top 5 running game just based off Mike McDaniel alone. That's what we were sold.
That's what was exactly.
No, it's not the case.
That was a bunch of wolf tickets they were selling.
That was ridiculous. It was ridiculous then. It's ridiculous now. It's just going to take them a little longer to get the run game where it needs to go.
If you go back,
well, look here, listen. Hold on real quick, because we're going to be approaching the 3-hour mark. So I do want to do the quick rundown, and I'm going to ask for final thoughts. I wasn't even planning on being here this long, and with final thoughts, we'll be going 3 hours. But again, check out El Capitan, the great proprietor of this great channel. Catch him almost every night of the week. Also, you got me, the Rabid Dolphin. You know what I'm saying? Throwing good content at you. Color commentary, you can catch them morning, afternoon, nighttime, whenever. Color's always around. Dolphins debrief, we got some things in the work with DTA, and then late night exhale Saturday nights with Ali, man. Check him out. He's getting you guys ready for the game and stuff. So, you know, with that being said, Fanatics, you know, great sponsor of ours, and everybody already knows all our products and stuff. So, got the beanies, the hats, the flags, tank tops, you know, all the good stuff, man. Tumblers for color, drinking that coffee. So, again, I just wanted to say that. Like and also subscribe to the channel, man. Give us a like button. Let everybody know what we're doing over here. We're trying to do big things, trying to send content you guys' way almost every day. So, with that being said, final thoughts. Mark got out of here. We'll throw it to Mountie Fins. Go ahead, Mountie.
Hey man, I just you know, fins up, but I just think, you know, Tua, this is his time to really show who he can be. Like Greer said last year, I think it was last year or something, when they asked about Tua's future with the team. He was like, well, you know what? You know, we typically like to give our players 3 seasons to show if they can be what we need them to be. So this is his 3rd season with a competent head coach and coaching staff to help shape him to what he is going to be, or if so, or if not. So you know, look. And another thing, the thing that used to frustrate me the most is about dudes that don't watch the all 22 or don't know really anything about football standings and dynamics. You hear people say dumb crap like, "Oh well, San Diego's not a big deal." There's a conference game. See, they don't understand conference and division again, how that works. So, but hopefully, you know, they can help me get in these panels and learn, because I've learned some things from you guys. So we learn from each other. So, but fins up and thanks.
I appreciate you, Monty, for coming through, man, for real.
All right, shit, mate.
Lou, I gotta go, bro. Can I go real quick, man?
Yeah, go ahead, Ian.
Hey, homie. Hey, I just want to give a shout out to the panel, give a shout out to people in the comments, even them idiots in the comments. Salute to everybody that's showing up, always showing this platform some love and support or whatnot. It was a very insightful show, man, and I'm glad. I'm just thankful I was a part of it today, man. And keep doing what you're doing, Lou. Always respect you. You know how I feel about you, Louis the man. Not Louis the Tua hater, but Louis the man, Louis Amador the man.
Stop that, Ian. Stop
Always
that,
respect,
Ian.
homie. But at the end of the day, Sunday, make no mistake about it, Sunday, in my opinion, is a must-win game. There's no way losing should not be. It's just not an option on Sunday. And if we do, I do think we'll come out victorious in that game. I do think Tua will play better, and I think we'll play better as a team, hopefully. But at the end of the day, man, we got to get that victory because you can't go into Buffalo next week, the following week, on a 2-game skid, bro. And again, we highlighted the elements, what it's going to be like on game day in that Buffalo game. So at the end of the day, I do think we will win Sunday. It will be a better game overall collectively. But at the end of the day, it's always fins up, baby, all day, every day. And y'all have salute to everybody. Y'all have a good day, man. Till next time.
EM, for the record, you back to EM 1.0 now. You've graduated.
Yeah. Okay.
Congratulations, you're EM 1.0 now.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Chris. I got something for you though, but I'm reserve that for our private conversation. All right, gentlemen. Y'all have a good day.
EM, it was good to see you, brother. I see you in a while, but it's good to see you.
Hey, appreciate that, homie.
A 10, a fucking 10, gentlemen.
All right, we'll go with Rashad. Final words, Rashad.
I'm gonna say, what can I say? I'm gonna honestly say this and understand where I'm coming from because Tua failed the test Sunday. I'm glad he did, and I'm glad he failed it the way he did. Because if we weren't ready for this game, if we would have won this game, I can only imagine how big-headed they would have been going up against divisional opponents. And I'd rather them get it right now before they go onto the skid of AFC team. We got 3 more divisional games. We're going up against the Chargers, who's fighting for a playoff spot, and the Packers, who are just out for blood now. They don't know what they're doing, so they have nothing to lose. They are going for an extra point, 2-point conversions, 4th down, all that stuff. So now it's time to tighten up. We thought we was them boys. Clearly we weren't. So I'm okay with the loss. Get it back on track and go out there Sunday. I'll be there Sunday too. I'm gonna tell you why I feel I'm superstitious. I don't wear Dolphin stuff when I watch Dolphin games, and I went to the game all Dolphin decked out. So I blame myself in a way. I will not be decked out in Dolphin. I will have on some Hurricane shit. And congratulations on the show, Lewis. You killed it, just like I knew you would. Lewis been doing this on Twitter for a while, y'all, for those of y'all who don't know. But great job, and salute to you. Salute to all of y'all.
Appreciate you, Rashad.
Yeah, Rashad.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm going to holler at y'all.
Good holding it down out there in the stadium out there, out west in enemy territory.
All right, Shad. Be good, bro.
All right, Shad. Take it easy now.
All right.
A 10, a fucking 10, gentlemen.
There you go, a fucking 10. Mr. Paul, final words, homie.
Lewis, thank you for having me on the show. It's good to see you. Like I said, it's good to see you hosting the show. And
did we lose Mr. Paul?
Yeah, he cut out.
A 10, a fucking 10, gentlemen.
Oh man, well I had to save the final spot, man, for my brother from another mother, man. Crypto's been another one since day one, been rocking with me. I'm the same way I've been rocking with him. So again, it would only be fitting for the second episode of the Rabid Dolphin to have Crypto close us out. So Crypto sent us home with a bang, man.
Oh man, appreciate it, Lou. Yeah, good show, man. Knocked it out of the park once again, man. You know, good discussion today. Good question, good poll question. I don't know if we got the final results on the poll, but it was pretty good. Interesting discussion about the Chargers game being a big game or not. It's just different levels to everything as far as the importance as the season go on.
About 100 and something people voting. It was like 67% yes. You know, so
okay, yes,
pretty much held the whole way at the same rate.
Okay, no stuffing the ballot boxes and nothing like that. All right,
no,
all right,
and
got it.
6% of the people said it never matters, but there's about 34% said no.
Okay, All
or
right. Yeah, I
32,
mean, I
whatever the
figured.
math is.
Yeah, I
I
figured it'll
appreciate you,
probably
Miss
end up that
fans.
way.
I
I
appreciate
appreciate
it.
that. Yep, Miss Fans. Yeah, that was interesting poll question. I loved it. You know, like I said, even games after that is going to be interesting because the more teams behind us start winning, and it puts even more pressure on us to win to stay ahead. I think we got the 6th seed now, so that means that the 7th and 8th seed that's behind us, all they need to do is win. If we lose 2 and they were out, now we're asking for help. So
Right, right.
that's what made the 49ers game that much more important because we went from 2 to 6 just in a blink of an eye. So yeah, even that Green Bay Packer game is going to be a must win if we happens to lose the Chargers and Bills game. So now Tua's big game is going to come on Christmas Day. Is that what we're looking at? But it's crazy, isn't it? He's going to have to
It is
outperform
crazy.
Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. That's crazy. That's going to be Tua's next big game. That he's going to have to bail us out in. Or the team wise. But you just never know. These December games, we're going to have. I think Rashad said it. Bunch of 4th downs, fake field goals, fake punts. Who knows what the freaking Packers are going to be doing in that game? Against us.
No, they're ignorant. That's ignorant.
Because they trying to ruin our season, I hate that, That's crazy. Playing teams like that, that's in desperation mode.
Yeah, it
We just
is.
got to go out and get this W against the Chargers because we all know the preset narratives that's going to be out there surrounding this game. We got to put that W in the win column. But yeah, man. Yeah, like I said before, I think I mentioned this before, Lewis. Don't let that snowball become an avalanche. You better melt that snowball before it becomes an avalanche, because if you don't and it becomes an avalanche, you might not have enough shovels to dig yourself out.
I heard that, Crypto. I agree 100%. With that being said, we're going to end the stream here, guys. Thank you, everybody, for coming through. We're a little bit over the 3-hour mark. And again, you want real content, you want great content, come check us out, the Fence Tailgate, man. Like I said, got you guys covered throughout the week. And you might see us pop up other places as well as Twitter, Facebook, on other panels. We're not going to stop talking that talk, man. So I appreciate everybody for coming through, and we'll see y'all next time, man. We're out.
Yes, sir.